Gaming news today is all about the release date. First, the CEO of Take-Two did an interview where he spoke to why we're not hearing about GTA 6 from them just yet. So for those hoping that the GTA 6 release date or that super elusive GTA 6 trailer 2, well, the lack of information has an explanation, and it seems to hint that the game is still on track for a 2025 release. Also, I picked up on something that nobody else really has picked up on in the interview with one of the phrases that he used. We'll talk about that in just a second. Second, the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct is just 2 days away, and the mounting rumors about the release date continue to come out. But also, we now have agreement from multiple sources about when the Switch 2 release date will be, but also when pre-orders will go live. Third, amid completely made-up rumors about Ghost of Yotei being delayed, we now have another push from the team at Sucker Punch about what the title is going to have in it, confirming also and reconfirming the release in 2025. Along with the new details, we also have a reliable insider telling us when it should be releasing, and if you're planning on playing Death Stranding 2, it may or may not be welcome news depending on how you look at it. And as always, I've got a game for your wish list and your radar. If you're watching this later, you don't know this, but we went late today. I had a power outage last night. A crazy storm came through Kentucky. I was up till like 2 in the morning, so had to sleep in. Power came back on around 2 in the morning, so we're grateful to have it back. We are also now streaming on Fiber. Very excited about that. That should open up some really big opportunities for us this year with some of the things that we're looking into. And as always, if you want to support this channel directly in what we do, consider clicking the join button. That is going to be a paid membership that gets you into the second half of this channel, all those extra shows. Just make sure you pick Member Plus for $6. So let's get into this. I know that the GTA 6 thing is getting old, right? The lack of information, the fact that it basically comes up once a week, and it comes up once a week for us to say that, like, we don't really know anything. In case you missed it, GTA 6 Trailer 2 and its release date has been a point of frustration for the fan base. More than the fan base, in the wake of the recent GDC, numerous developers and publishers admitted that the lack of a release date is causing a lot of marketing plans to sort of hang in limbo. If the GTA 6 game does get delayed, well, a bunch of games are going to try to rush into that vacancy on the calendar. But the delay would also mean that you've got to get out of the way of wherever it ends up landing with the new date. And all of these companies are basically anticipating having to spend a lot of money to deal with this reality that GTA 6 is going to sort of serve as a calendar black hole. Well, Strauss Zelnick, the CEO of Take-Two, sat down with Bloomberg, and he spoke to why they have basically said nothing. The initial trailer for GTA 6 landed in December of 2023. Then the gaming world spent all of 2024 waiting to see what else would be said. And now, with the 3 months of 2025 behind us and a whole lot of rumors and speculation, it's been radio silence from Rockstar Games. Well, there's a reason for that. And it's something that I've tried to say every time that we've had a potential GTA 6 trailer 2 date come and go. Rockstar and Take-Two are keeping the marketing runway very short. Maybe 4 to 6 months at most is what I sort of analyzed with their previous games. And that is exactly what Strauss Zelnick has admitted. I'm pulling this from Insider Gaming. Zelnick said that the reason for the lack of news is to, quote, create enormous anticipation. And here's what he said. The anticipation for that title may be the greatest anticipation I've ever seen for an entertainment property. We want to maintain the anticipation and the excitement. And then he said that some of the studios and some of the publishers that are out there, they sort of reveal their release schedules years in advance. But then he went on to say this. We found that the better thing to do is to provide marketing materials relatively close to the release window in order to create that excitement on the one hand and balance the excitement with unmet anticipation. Now, that's the phrase that I don't think people are picking up on, okay? I think this is very telling. He said marketing materials. He didn't say like, oh, we're going to start marketing. He said marketing materials. Now, in the past few years, this is the single most leaky part of the chain of any game's development process. Games and studios can keep things relatively quiet, but as soon as you start making your marketing materials, it starts to circulate across many desks and screens and emails. and it gets harder to keep quiet. All it takes is an intern or a more low-level employee to see it, and, they're sometimes willing to take that risk. Some companies even outsource their marketing, which is why release dates and gameplay starts leaking when a team is gearing up to push out their marketing. So they're holding off, he said, on providing marketing materials to the teams, to the outlets, and the companies, because they know that's when the leaks start. That's when things start hitting that they don't want seen. Like, look at what happened when they scheduled the last trailer. It was on YouTube, scheduled for a premiere. Somebody got into the back end of YouTube, stole it, and it went out into the world early. Like I said, that's when things tend to start to leak. Now, this is why I think Rockstar Games has managed to keep everything about the game so incredibly quiet. They're not even providing marketing materials, both internally and externally. And from everything we have heard from two reliable insiders, marketing should start in May, which coincidentally is the next Take-Two earnings call. I will say, the way that he handled this interview, it does seem to passively affirm the release date for GTA 6 is still in 2025. Almost like a wink and a nudge, like, hey, it's almost here. Just wait. It's like he's saying, listen, you're not hearing anything because there's problems. You're not hearing anything because we like to wait, and that's evidenced by how long they've been quiet. Now, as far as waiting and not wanting to wait, the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct is almost here, and in just 2 days, we will be co-streaming the official Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, but a lot has been brewing about this device. Insider Gaming was provided with a document from a U.S. retailer, and it detailed that the device will ship in June. Now, this lines up with what other leakers and insiders were saying. But more than that, it detailed when pre-orders would go live. An erroneous page showed up and said that pre-orders would go live on April the 2nd. Now, I said at the time that I thought that was an error due to the fact that that's the exact same day as the Nintendo Direct. Typically, when you announce something like this, the pre-order date is like a week or two away. Insider Gaming claims that according to the documents, pre-orders should go live actually a week later, and here's what they said. According to the documents from the U.S. retailer that were provided to Insider Gaming, pre-orders are set to go live on April the 9th, 1 week after the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. The documents include a messaging strategy following the Direct that include a pre-order coming soon messaging and a countdown clock that will end on April the 9th, with an exact time to be confirmed by Nintendo on April the 2nd. So get ready to try to snag one a week after the Direct. That's basically next week. And this pre-order date will likely be confirmed at the Direct in just 2 days. But this was not the only leak about the Switch 2. Another Insider Gaming article claimed that, quote, according to Xstasis, the Nintendo Switch 2's mysterious C button will have multiple functions. One specific function, however, is that it will let you connect the new system to an original Nintendo Switch. This will reportedly allow players to use the Switch 1 as a controller or screen for Switch 2 games. This honestly sounds great, and it also sounds very Nintendo-ish, and Xstasis has been very reliable lately as an insider. But wait, there's more. Apparently, there will be 2 classifications for Switch 2 games. One is an exclusive, and the other is something known as a Switch 2 Edition game. A Nintendo page detailing how virtual game cards will work said the following. Compatible systems must be linked to a Nintendo account to use virtual game cards. Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive games and Nintendo Switch 2 Edition games can only be loaded on a Nintendo Switch 2 system. Now, this sounds to me like they're hopefully going to be enhancing some games like Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild to be Switch 2 editions, and that will enhance graphics and performance. For now, we're going to have to wait to see what exactly that means, but it sounds promising amidst some deserved confusion and criticism about the virtual game card system that Nintendo announced. And as far as announcements go, Ghost of Yotei could be gearing up for some announcements as they just dropped some new details. Now, in case you missed it, a communications manager from Sucker Punch reconfirmed the release date for this game as being in 2025, and we were one of the only outlets to initially cover that. I saw the tweet, I retweeted it, I told my audience that, hey, this pretty much confirms that the game is still coming in 2025. Now, thankfully, other news outlets started picking that up, helping to squash the annual tradition of claiming that a PlayStation game has been delayed for no other reason than wishful anti-fan thinking. But over the weekend, the official Ghost of Yotei website updated with new info, and it re-emphasized the 2025 release date. Here are the bullet points. Atsu, the main character, is seeking to get revenge for the death of her family after her homestead is destroyed. New weapon types include dual katanas, odachi, and the kusurigama. It's set in 1603, which is 300 years after Ghost of Tsushima. Massive sight lines with sprawling grasslands and icy tundras. Vegetation sways believably in the winds. New mechanics and gameplay improvements. The land surrounding Mount Yotei is outside the rule of Japan. It's a wild frontier filled with unexpected dangers, and it still is releasing in 2025. And then, friend of the show and suddenly a very reliable insider, Detective Seeds, revealed when the game should be landing. He simply tweeted mid to late July release date. Now, if this is true, with Death Stranding 2 releasing on June 26th, hopefully that's enough time for me to enjoy Kojima's sequel before my most anticipated game of the year lands, which is Ghost of Yotei. I'm currently almost done with Death Stranding 1. I've got like another maybe hour is what I've been told. I rolled credits, but apparently there's stuff after the credits that you have to do. Now, I would expect nothing less from the sequel of Death Stranding. It'll be a fairly big game, 40 to 50, maybe even 60 hours. I'm glad that the Death Stranding 2 recent trailer pushed me to go back and give the game another shot because I have loved it. But as a huge Ghost of Tsushima fan, I'm hoping Yotei is given enough breathing room. I also think PlayStation is likely trying to push out their games before GTA 6 takes over the calendar. Now, I've had some people, saying it seems like this is not something PlayStation would do, to do Death Stranding end of June and then Yotei end of July, right? But you have to consider what GTA 6 means. Lost Soul Aside is another game published by PlayStation this year, coming out May 30th. So we may have a pattern on our hands. You've got a late May release with Lost Soul Aside, a late June release with Death Stranding, and now it's being claimed that Yotei will be a mid to late release in July. So that's May, June, July. Now this could be passive confirmation that PlayStation expects GTA 6 to land in the fall of 2025. They're trying to hit that summer hard and heavy, May, June, July, and then they're just going to let GTA 6 carry the end of the year and push PlayStation 5 and PS5 Pro sales. So, because they're in conversation with Rockstar, as far as we know, about this potential marketing deal that's going to kick up in May. And if PlayStation knows this thing is still on target, it wouldn't surprise me at all if this May, June, July push from them is in fact real, since GTA 6 will pretty much dwarf the end of the year in the calendar. And now I do have a game for your wish list and your radar. I try to make these show opens as short as possible, but we like to include a game every time. This one's called Metal Eden. It releases on PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and Steam on May the 6th, so not that long from now, but there's a demo coming soon. They describe this as an adrenaline rush sci-fi FPS. It's described as a boomer shooter. It looks a little bit like there's going to be abilities in combining different skills like you would do in a rogue. And the demo is coming out very soon. Metal Eden's Mission 0 and 1 will be available for free and for an unlimited period starting on April the 8th on Steam, PlayStation, and Xbox. So you're basically going to be able to get an entire month head start to try out this game to see if you like it. It looks a little bit like Doom meets Gunfire Reborn or something. I really, really am excited to play this. I think it looks excellent. This one came out with some trailers recently, and it looked like it was going to be a rogue, but it doesn't describe itself as one. So excited to check this one out. That is Metal Eden. So that's the news. Now it's time for the live discussion. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I know you guys are already reporting that you're getting ads. We're running this experiment one more time. I have it set to conservative, which I've been told doesn't necessarily limit the frequency. It should limit the number of people that get hit. We're hoping... We're really, really hoping that we can either get a wrangle on this or just not run it. I do not like disrupting your viewing experience with an ad. We are concerned that YouTube wants us to run it and that videos and live streams that don't run it are potentially going to get sequestered on the platform. And Han shot first, and so did you. The first renewal of the week, as well as the first gifted, goes to Joker Quinn, and he gets us to 2, and then a VIP renewal from Predator, and then a VIP renewal from Ganks. And Predator, Joker Quinn says, my time does fly. Predator says, missed GTA 6 info and half of the Switch info due to the unskippable ads. And then Ganks says, the GTA 6 trailer dropped. Okay, well, that's all I need to know. If they're going to completely disrupt, I mean, we didn't even get 6 minutes into the show and I saw you guys spamming chat. That's absolutely ridiculous. And that's an incredibly ineffective way to treat the live audience. You should at least get, I would think, 20 minutes into a dadgum live show before they hit you. I I miss your review of Death Stranding, but I'm glad to see you enjoyed the full game. It's truly special. Yeah, I really haven't been able to really land with my thoughts with it yet, Wooly. It just kind of hangs in the air after the fact. It really, really does. And I will do an official placement for the chair and talk about it in about 15 minutes. I like to do this about 30 minutes into the show, but you guys can use the commands now if you're chomping at the bit to use my code. And to go get yourself one. YouTube's doing some funky stuff. Yeah, they're just wanting us to run automatic ads is what they're wanting us to do. And because they're wanting us to run automatic ads, I'm having to consider, like, do we do that or not? I've said no to it for like 18 months. They've been really browbeating us about it, trying to get us to run it. Silver Subaru with 50 months in a VIP, 4 years and counting. Let's friggin' go. The first 5 members of the week. And this week, we've got a very, very special Saturday planned for you guys. It will be the IRL Reverse Seer stream for all paying members only. So you do want to make sure you are on Member Plus and above. Weather permitting, whole lot of rain slated for this week. So we may have to reschedule, weather permitting. So we will see. Why is it doing that? No, continue to destination. Oh, that's terrible. We can't use that Bitly. Bitly is trying to promote itself with that link. I've got to update that. Hang on a minute. That's terrible. I clicked on the link and it's like a Bitly landing page. That's silly. Just use code LONO over there and then. Well, they're probably tracking that Bitly. Is it going to say it every time somebody clicks on the Bitly? Oh my gosh, you'll be redirected in 8 seconds. They want people to download their freaking extension. No, we're not doing that. I'm not promoting Bitly. Sorry. Hang on. We don't want that. I apologize for the disruption here, folks. A 2 spot from Wooly. Thank you so much, Wooly. Why is it saying username? Why is it saying equals content equals JC? That doesn't make any sense. Maybe that's whoever activated it for me. All right. Yeah, I'm taking that out. That's super unhelpful. Because that's just going to freak people out. They're going to be like, what is this? It freaked me out. It takes me to Bitly and wants me to download an extension. Like, hey, Bitly, you're just supposed to be shortening hyperlinks, not trying to hawk your stuff. True SSJ Havoc says, I got 29 months in myself. Time certainly does fly. Thank you so much. YouTube Music is low-key the best music app going. It took me straight to the site on Android and the EU region. It took me on 2 different browsers. It took me to Bitly trying to get me to download their extension. I'm like, their EXT. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't want anybody going to another site. I want you going to the actual site. Like, GTA 6 will be delayed on April or May of 2026. What makes you say that? Why do you think it'll get delayed? If you guys haven't done so yet, be sure to smash that like button. Let's get our first 200 likes. It is a later start here on Monday. We had a power outage last night. Ad again. Gee, many Christmas. Yeah, I'm just gonna turn it off. I'm just turning it off. I'm already over it. I'm so stinking over it. I'm shutting it off. It's so stupid. If it was like every 20 or 30 minutes, I would understand. Like every 20 or 30 minutes you want to hit somebody, they're hitting, like, it's literally every 5 to 6 minutes. You talk about brain dead implementation. Like, do you not understand live environments? I guess they don't. Assume Parasite with 30 months in a VIP. Oh, snaps. I got one. Thank you so much for renewing your membership. Appreciate it so much. Read my previous comment about running ads. No. What did you say? What if you do what these do and manually run the ads of the hour? Yeah, I don't want to do that either. We're just not going to do it, and they can figure it out. It's not my responsibility. I don't run the platform. I just stream on it, so they can figure it out. Is there another waiting room? No, this is not another waiting room. And a 5-bomb comes in from Sneaky Wolf and gets us to 11 members on the day. Thank you so much, Sneaky Wolf. Cracking it off. I need to give you some agency over the timing. I can do that. I can go in and say run them every 20 minutes, but the problem is then it's just going to hit people every 20 minutes and no one's going to know. I don't know how many it's going to hit. I was hoping automated would like hit small pockets of people at separate intervals, and it's like it doesn't seem to be doing that. So I can set the interval, but I figured if I did that, it would be even worse because it would hit everybody, and then that just makes your viewer count plummet. And YouTube isn't sophisticated enough to know why it's plummeting. They just know that the viewer count plummeted, and it's like then you get punished for it. So, yeah, I'm over it. I'm already over it. We tried, and I'm shutting it off. We'll see if we can't figure out a better plan. Is anything with Trailer 2 happening tomorrow? I don't think so. So the update on the trailer is that Strauss Zelnick just did an interview with Bloomberg, and he spoke specifically to it, okay? He spoke specifically to it. And essentially what he said was, the reason you have seen nothing and the reason that you have heard nothing is they have found it's more effective to run their marketing really, really close to the release of the game. So what that means is I think everything we've been hearing about GTA 6 and the marketing spinning up in May, I think you can take that to the bank. I think that's the current plan. Because I think if they run it in May and it lands in like September or October, that's like a 4 to 5 month period. And I kept saying if you went back and you looked, whenever they would ramp up the marketing, it would be within 4 to 6 months of the release of the game. And he basically said, this is the most effective way we have found to market a game, right? You got baited again. I mean, if you read the title and the description, I made it clear this is about an interview with Strauss Zelnick. I mean, you got to do more than just see GTA on the thumb and click. I try to give a plenty of information in the description so that you know what we're going to be talking about. I don't do like the cryptic stuff where you don't know what it's going to be. It's like literally in the description of this video rather lengthily. I think he just likes blueballing everyone and holding the industry hostage for the darn release date. Well, if you remember our coverage on the heels, on sort of the heels of the GDC, a bunch of developers and publishers were essentially, I don't think they were like complaining, but they were expressing kind of their frustration with, we can't really plan or do anything until we get a date. Like, because if it gets delayed, there's going to be this big vacancy and people are going to scramble to get into that vacancy. Then obviously if it gets delayed to the first quarter of next year, well, then anybody in that first quarter is going to have to consider moving. Does that make sense? Any predictions on games that you want or would like to see on Wednesday? I would like to see any kind of info they have on what games like Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild are going to run about. So the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct is on Wednesday. That's what he's asking about. I'm assuming that's what you're asking about. So I would love to know that. I would love to know and get confirmation on whether or not the new Mario Kart is a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive. I have said that I think that it is. I think the new Mario Kart is a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive because they want people to buy this thing, and that's going to be a strong motivation. I think the reason that Metroid is not at this event, I don't know how much they're going to focus on cross-platform releases at this event. If you're not going to include Metroid at your Switch 2 event, I don't know. That's confusing to me, unless, of course, the focus is going to be, I think it's going to be a threefold focus. This is just my gut. I don't have any insider information. I don't have an inside track here, okay? And my, what is this? I don't even know who that was. Anyways. My theory is that it'll be a threefold approach at the Switch 2 Direct. I think they're going to focus on exclusives for the Switch 2. I think they're going to focus on past games and what they're doing to them, like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. And then I also think they're going to focus on third-party releases. That's what I think they're going to focus on. I don't think they're going to want to focus on cross-gen games because I really think they're trying to motivate people to get off Like, they want people to get off the Switch 1. They want people to buy Switch 2. Where is GTA 6? So, the GTA 6 trailer news is the never-ending story for YouTubers. Okay, well, I've been trying to limit it to once a week. Like, give me a little bit of credit. It is the biggest game this year. And when the publisher said what they said after the GDC, I had to cover that. I thought that was worthy news. When the CEO of Take-Two does an interview and he explains why you haven't seen or heard anything from GTA 6, I feel like that's worthy news. I feel like that's worth covering. It was everywhere. Every single one of my news feeds, every single YouTube channel in existence was covering the Strauss Zelnick interview as it pertains to GTA 6, the release date, the trailer 2, all of that. I don't... There's nothing I can do. If you did it 4 times a week, I wouldn't care. It's a title. Right, and you can come in and ask me about anything going on in the gaming news. Like, this is a gaming news show. Don't ever feel like the title and the thumbnail is, like, limiting us. Like, oh, yeah, well, you can't go in there and talk about anything else. No, I keep the show very open. It's called Gaming News Today. You can come in and ask me about anything going on in gaming news. Now, the Doom the Dark Ages previews, we probably are going to kick that to tomorrow so that I can give you a curated summary of everything that's been said. I want that to be thoughtful and good and not slapped together because Doom is one of my anticipated games this year. So Doom the Dark Ages stuff hit. I didn't have time to add it to the show. I was dealing with a power outage last night. I was up till 2 in the morning. I woke up late this morning and, and everything got pushed back. So we will kick Doom the Dark Ages to tomorrow. I'm happy to take your questions about it. I think it looks incredible, but I want to give that a really, really good and fair treatment. I don't like slapping things together if it's a game that I'm really anticipating or really excited about. So, unfortunately, GTA 6 is just going to keep stinking doing this until we get a trailer, and until we get a release date. Until that happens, we're just going to be kind of dealing with this sort of trickle of info, and I thought an interview with Strauss Zelnick was worthy. I thought it was worthy of covering. I do. And I thought, let's talk about it, And also, I think it's relevant to things that I've been saying. I think more and more you're seeing marketing change quite a bit. I think you're seeing companies say it's more effective to, it's more effective to market closer to the game's release. Now, I'm not saying you can't have like an announcement trailer, right? Or make an announcement or have a press release that says we're building XYZ game. Like we have certainly known about GTA 6 for longer than, when the trailer hit in December of 2023, right? But I do think that more and more companies are seeing the wisdom of a more effective marketing spend being shorter and more potent. How much will the Switch 2 cost? I think it's going to be $499 personally. And this is a question from Perfect Image. This is something you can do as a member, so consider clicking join and becoming a paying member here. You can have your question featured. You can ask anything you want in chat. You don't have to be a member to do that. But Perfect Image says, could this be right after Switch 2, then the Ghost 2 trailer, Death Stranding 2? I don't understand your question. If you're saying that, like, that day, no, I don't think so. I think everybody's going to kind of hold their breath, in the wake of the Switch 2 event. They'll kind of hold their breath and they'll kind of wait. A lot of the times when there's an event or there's an announcement or something kind of big happens, whether it's like the Switch 2 or something, something with Xbox or PlayStation, the other companies and the other things, they tend to go quiet. They tend to say, well, we're going to wait. We don't really want to say anything just yet. And if you guys haven't gone through the morning ritual, man, come in, smash the like button, get us to 200 likes. Appreciate you guys showing your support. You should no longer be getting the ads. I turned it off. We weren't even 20 minutes into the show, and we had gotten too many complaints, so I shut it off. I've always tried to take a protective approach on that. More and more, that's going to be something we're going to have to like monitor, and you guys will just have to provide feedback for us if it gets bad, right? Let us know. Bloomberg did a report on it too. I don't see them talking about any other game, especially not this way. This is giving me GTA 5 release vibes. In what way is it giving you release vibes of GTA 5? Like, I felt like the interview sort of passively confirmed that it's coming this year. I felt like that was kind of the landing. I feel like the volume on the music could probably get bumped once. We got new. I'm gonna reset the playlist. We got new synthwave from Panda Beats, so they added a new album. And it sounded pretty good from this morning. Yeah, Doom hands on today. Yeah, I know. We're gonna have to. I think we're gonna have to cover it tomorrow because I want to give you guys a full rundown of what people are saying. It looks very promising. It looks like people are really enjoying it. The gameplay that I've seen looks incredible. It looks very, very crispy. Very, very crispy. So, we're also seeing rumors about a physical release of Last of Us. I don't know what they're doing. Probably because they know it'll sell well because of the show. Longtime fans are going to get ticked and say, that this is ridiculous. Why are you doing this? But they know that the show increases sales every time. Also seeing reports here that NVIDIA, after Enzoy and Kazan devs, are recommending rolling back your GPU drivers for some players. So if you guys are having issues, you may want to look into that. It looks like that's being recommended. Maybe not to everybody, but why did Rockstar release the first trailer too early? I mean, too early is subjective, is it not? Like at one level, I don't disagree with you that it seemed really, really early, right? It seemed like maybe it would have made more sense to drop it in the middle of 2024 and then now they could start, because essentially what they did is they released the GTA 6 trailer end of 2023. It got leaked, but that's not exactly how it happened, Yanavin. They had a scheduled day it was going live, and they had it scheduled on YouTube. Somebody stole it, put it out there, and they had to put the trailer out like a day early. The leak did not force their hand. It wasn't like the trailer got leaked and then they scrambled to release it. They were planning on releasing it that day. They literally had a tweet and a poster saying GTA 6 trailer on this day in December at 9 a.m. Eastern. So it wasn't, they didn't push it out because of a leak. I am confused why you would do that and then literally say nothing in 2024. Brooklyn with 21 months and a light. A member Light says, we're almost at 2 years. Congrats on the Marvel movie deal. Thank you so much, Brooklyn. Like, think about what we're saying. They dropped the trailer. Do you guys remember the GTA 6 trailer reactions that were out there? What was the theme and what had everybody ticked off? That it was coming in 2025. So I'm supposed to believe that they dropped the trailer end of 2023 and they know it's coming in 2025 and their plan this whole time, their plan this entire time was to say nothing for a year and a half. That was their plan. That's bold. But if you listen to the Strauss Zelnick interview, he's like, yeah, we think it's more potent. And a 5-bomb comes in from Siege Master and gets us to 116 members on the day. Thank you guys so much. Hello Games did the same with Light No Fire. They dropped the trailer in 2023 and then nothing in 2024. Yeah, that is true. They followed a very similar pattern. You think you constantly get ridiculous questions because people want to see your reaction, or do you think a serious lack of critical thinking? What do you mean? What questions have I been asked today that you think are ridiculous? Do you have an example of a ridiculous question that we've gotten? Bethesda does the same strategy as well. I'm not against it. I just think it irritates people. I think it irritates people, right? I mean, there are games, and they did this they did this at the beginning of the gen, right? They did it with Hellblade 2 and State of Decay, and they did it with Spider-Man 2, and they did it with Wolverine, right? Both Xbox and PlayStation did this at the beginning of the gen. I think it's a little bit different when a platform does it. I think when a platform does it, you're sort of expecting it because you're like, well, they're trying to cast a vision. They're trying to cast a vision for what you can expect from their console this generation. So a lot of people were like, oh, look at Xbox. They're going to have Hellblade 2 and State of Decay and all these other big games. And then PlayStation plays the exact same game. Oh, we're going to get Spider-Man 2. Oh, we're going to get Wolverine. And that ingratiates the audience to purchase, right? It makes you think, oh, well, this gen's going to be really strong. I think standalone games are in a bit of a different category, but they seem to like to do it as well. They're like, well, here's a trailer. Here's something to get everybody really excited, whether it's Light No Fire or, in this case, GTA 6. And then they just go quiet. Now, I've always said this. I've always said, I'm okay with a teaser trailer, and then what do? Nothing. And I'm like, that's fine. I think that's fine if the next time you show up with a release date and you show up with gameplay. Just people asking where the GTA 6 trailer after the interview when clearly the developer answered the question. They might not know about the interview. That's why I'm doing the coverage. And Ankit says, will GTA become the biggest disappointment ever? There's no, I don't think there's a way for me to know that. He seems in the interview, hang on, I forgot to set the super chat goal. I will gift a member. He seems to think in the interview that they're striving for perfection. He's got a pretty heavy dose of confidence in this game landing very, very strong. I don't think that's an issue. Like, I don't think this is going to land. Now, I've said it's going to have a harder time getting Game of the Year than other games because I think in the grand scheme of the voting process and the review process, I think it's very easy for a game like GTA 6 to land more lukewarm and tepid with people because their expectations are either too high or not fair, or anticipation for a game. I mean, it's all in what Strauss Zelnick said. He knows that when they do this, when they go quiet, when they say nothing, when they shrink the marketing window, it increases your excitement, increases your anticipation. Well, given that reality, I don't think it's going to make it a big disappointment, but I do think you could run into review outlets that sort of unfairly say, we waited too long, this doesn't feel, revolutionary enough or innovative enough. And I think sometimes that can be unfair to the game that you're reviewing because it seems more based on either unstated or unrealistic expectations. And 43 months from Colin bumps the member line to 17. That's a great reason to be at Member Plus, guys. Whenever you renew, you increase the total on the week. It has to be April because their next earning call is early May. That's what I thought, Matthias. I thought they would want to get the trailer out with the release date in April so they can go into the earnings call and say, the release date's been announced, the trailer's performing well, maybe they even open up pre-orders and they report on pre-order numbers being strong and really cast that vision. And then when you're done with that earnings call, well, it's go time, baby. It's May. It's time to start marketing, right? It's time to start cranking out the screenshots and the interviews. Biggest disappointment ever for me is Concord dead after a few days, or Hellblade 2. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really looking forward to Concord. I thought it looked bad from the beginning, and I was obviously looking forward to Hellblade 2, but biggest disappointment is such a big, I'm not trying to be funny. It's a big thing to say. Look, this is the biggest disappointment. The GTA 6 trailer 2 thing has been driving me insane. I have no clue what to do while waiting. Can you recommend something? Why you play a game, play Death Stranding. Play AC Shadows. Play First Berserker Kazan. I mean, there's a lot of games coming out, man. You got plenty to do. Do you think that they're confident enough to remove the review embargo like a month before release date? I don't know, because with a game like this, you have to think about what you just said and the timeline that means. And I'm sorry, what the timeline means. Let's say it's landing in the middle of October. And you're saying, oh, do you think they'll have the review embargo be like a month early? So that would be September. Okay. That would mean they'd have to put the game in the review outlet's hands sometime in August. I don't think so. I really, really don't think so. I think you would likely see a 1 week embargo, maybe. Sometimes it's like 48 hours. Rockstar is very strict with spoilers. No way they would remove the embargo a month early. Yeah, I also don't think you'd want the game in the hands of outlets that early in the year. You know it's going to get leaky. I just don't think so. Matthias says, or is that how you say that? Matthias or Matthias? Is it Matthias? I think it's probably Matthias. Trailer 2 in April. June trailer 3, August, you get a gameplay trailer, October release. I think they would do something in June, potentially with Keighley and Summer Game Fest and all of that. I also think they're going to do something in May. I think you're missing May. We've heard from 2 very reliable sources that May is when the marketing will kick up. May is when the marketing will kick up. And it's also going to be potentially in some kind of a marketing agreement. Matthias. Oh, Matthias. But I don't see a diphthong for that. Matthias. It's got an E in there that's throwing me off. Matthias. Yeah, I know the name Matthias, but that's the diphthong's not right for that. I have to ask this question to people. How long did you play GTA 5? If not long, then why would GTA 6 be taking over your life? I think a lot of people. Diphthong, I thought this channel was family friendly. I see this being a 40 to 50 hour game for me like any other. It's basically Matthew in Portuguese. You can call me whatever you want. The what? I always like to pronounce names correctly because I know I get names incorrectly a lot, and I get a lot of grief. I get a lot of grief for it. I do. I get a lot of grief for it. I'm completely passing on GTA 6, just can't be bothered. There's his name. Yeah. I'm still playing GTA 5 while watching. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are still playing GTA 5. I don't think everybody waiting for this game is going to be like hyper casual with it. Anybody waiting on Ghost of Yotei? I mean, that's part of today's story. Ghost of Yotei had new details drop, and the Ghost of Yotei release date was reconfirmed for 2025. For whatever reason, there's this annual tradition of like fan fiction writers to be like, well, I heard Yotei got delayed. Yeah, y'all said the same thing about Ragnarok and Spider-Man 2. Why do we have to do this every year? You know what I mean? It's just like the annual, hey, people that are more interested in striking out and being wrong, I guess. They're just like swinging it at every phantom ball that they think that they see, and then they just end up getting basically everything wrong. Do the people claiming that do they have a good track record? Yes. The 2 people talking about the marketing starting in May and it being, tied to PlayStation, one of them is Detective Seeds and the other is Middle-Aged Gamer Guy, and they both have a very good track record as of late. Forget Me Not with a $5 super chat tip says, I'm hearing Layden left PlayStation because of the games and service initiatives. Is true? I saw that. I have not had a chance to look into it. It wouldn't shock me. It's very clear in the wake of his leaving and his absence that the PlayStation initiative from the top was we got to go after the live service dollar. I don't think PlayStation was alone in that. I think that plenty of people were wanting that. I don't think that you can't get to 2020 and this generation and a lot of the directives. I don't think you get there without the impact of Fortnite having an effect. Right? The impact of Fortnite made all these companies say, we need to go after that. That's nosebleed level money. We need to go after that money. And so it wouldn't surprise me at all if that directive and that new initiative very likely could have had someone like Sean Layden saying, yeah, I'm not really, this isn't really something that I'm catching the vision of. So I've not had time to look into it. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Whenever you have those types of new initiatives and those types of new directives within a company, a lot of the time your existing leadership, your existing staff decides to part ways because they're like, I've been doing this long enough. I don't want to go through whatever this evolution or whatever this shift is. To his credit, that's something that's been honestly kind of impressive with Phil Spencer is he has really been ride or die with Xbox through a lot of crazy times, a lot of crazy changes, and it's 2025. I mean, I would say the last 2 years have just been a bullet train of changes. I mean, just woof, at light speed, that brand has changed. I'm now seeing clips. I'm seeing clips on Twitter of like prominent Xbox guys that are just sort of finally, I don't know what you would call it. They're taking maybe we'll call it the filter. You know, the filter's coming off and they're like angry. I think more and more people are expressing that. That's why it's kind of surprising that we haven't seen, like with Sean Layden leaving, it's like, well, no, that makes sense to me. A lot of people are very anti-live service. A lot of studio execs or publishers or even developers think that live service is a waste of time. Here's why I don't think you're going to convince the higher ups to not chase the live service dollar, especially at PlayStation. The money they were able to bring in with Helldivers 2 and the amount of money that they continue to pull in, I would say they're still convinced it's a good strategy. He joined Tencent, who are full on live service. Take some of what he says now with a grain of salt, knowing what his business interests are. Yeah, I mean, isn't he doing more consulting work over there? Like, he's not. I think it's very different when the pressure's on your shoulders to carry a brand through an evolution as opposed to going and doing consulting work. I don't think they're necessarily the same. I don't know his official title, Paul, but I don't necessarily think it's the same. If Phil had enough of the Xbox evolution, threw his hands up and left, and then went and worked for some other company and was doing consulting work, the pressure and the stress would be light years of difference, I would imagine. I mean, I'm not going to speak for the man, but that's just from the distance, I would say. I think there's a pretty significant difference between Sony saying, we've got this live service initiative that we want you to help us push, and we want this to get out there and to get into the DNA of PlayStation. And he was just like, I'm not interested in this. That, I don't know. That makes sense to me. $5 super chat tip from Street Shadow. For someone who doesn't know, Layden was not the head of PlayStation. He was the head of PlayStation America division. He was under Andrew House. Well, that's helpful. I actually didn't know that. I thought he was like the head guy. I think it's because he was like the face, right? He was like at the showcases. He was like the guy they would, trot out there for, an E3 or something. Guys, we haven't even been streaming for an hour. You are crushing it. I still need to do the official placement for the chair. I'm very excited to be working with a chair sponsor now, and this is like way more comfortable than my other, high back ergonomic mesh chair that I was using. It's softer. My wife used the red one the other night, and she said it's kind of like when you're at like the Chuck E. Cheese and you're climbing the netting, and it's like hard and it almost like hurts your hands. This is like softer, like you push yourself up in the chair and like touch it and it doesn't like hurt. The mesh of the red one was like really rigid. It's also a little bit of a bigger chair as well. What do you think would be the biggest difference between Switch 1 and 2 in terms of raw graphics? I'm thinking the main thing they're going to be focusing on is some type of upscaling tech as well as frame rate. I don't think they're going to focus on it heavily in the marketing, but I think that's going to be one of the things that they're trying to leverage because of some of the patents and the rumors that we've seen about it. So let's leave PlayStation because of live service and then work for Tencent, who are full on. That doesn't add up to me. What do you mean? I just said that there's a very different thing between saying we want to evolve. I'm not doing this. No. Go back and listen to what I said. I'm done repeating myself to people who have the ability to listen. I'm tired of doing that. I'm not flat tiring the stream. New policy. Listen better or rewind. I'm not doing it. I made the case that it's very different. If you guys are just tuning in, though, we are discussing a litany of things. People are coming in. They're like, well, what about GTA 6? What about GTA 6? Here's the deal. Strauss Zelnick just did an interview with Bloomberg, and he basically said, here's why we haven't said anything. Right? Here's why we're not saying anything. Here's why we've gone quiet. Here's why there's no GTA 6 trailer 2 or GTA 6 release date. That's not happening anytime soon. Well, I think it's happening in April, which is soon. But the reason that we went all of 2024 with nothing is because they want it to be short. They think it's more potent. They think it's stronger, right? This is something I've been telling people. I'm like, listen, more and more companies are going to do this. They're going to walk out, they're going to announce their game, and then they're just going to go quiet. You're not going to hear anything. And I'm actually fine with that if the next time you show up, they're like, this is gameplay, this is the release date, boom. Less is more. I'm okay with the less is more approach if that's what you do. If you make me wait a year and a half and then you walk out with just another cinematic trailer, no gameplay, no hard release date. Like, if we get all the way to June and we still don't have a GTA 6 release date, I'm annoyed. I'm like, what are y'all doing? How do you not have the dadgum release date announced? Like, that's going to be just irritating at that point. Like, what are you doing? There are companies that want to announce their games, right? Hey, a new order from the soda. If you guys like soda, if you like Sprecher, thanks so much for doing that. I greatly appreciate that. Let me close this. So you guys that have been continuing to support that, thank you so much for doing that. FCat says, what about Black Myth Wukong and Sony deal? It's not a deal. That was already public information. I don't get... That was public information. We covered that. That's not new. Maybe people would watch the show instead of, reading about it on Twitter. If you'd actually come in and tune in, we covered that at the time. We had it on very good and reliable authority that PlayStation had worked with the Black Myth Wukong devs to bring the game to PlayStation. They were having issues. It was reported on. There were articles. It was covered. Now we're running the headline again that they helped the devs. Do you know who else they helped? They helped the Black Ops 6 devs work on anti-lag VRR for the PlayStation 5 Pro. Assassin's Creed Shadows developers just spoke to how they extensively worked with Sony with respect to the game coming to the Pro being enhanced as well as PSSR implementation. Are we really going to claim that finding out Sony helped the developer is a smoking gun? Is that our thing now? Is that all it takes? Like, oh my gosh, PlayStation helped a developer bring a game to their platform? Yeah. But they do that all the time? How about Digital Foundry's VRR stutter of the PS5 Pro video? They basically outlined very specific circumstances to get the VRR stutter, and it also seems to happen like Battaglia was saying he was getting it like every 8 seconds, and then if he unplugged HDMI and plugged into a different port, it would reset it, and the timer would be basically like reset. It's almost functioning like a memory leak. But it's like very particular circumstances to even get the stutter with VRR. It's also it's specific games as well. So like I watched their breakdown of it. Ollie and Alex broke it down, and it's like You need to be in this game, you need to have this turned on, and after so much time, you get this little VRR stutter like every 8 seconds or whatever. It's like, what the frick is going on? So clearly, there needs to be some kind of an update pushed out. It seems to be like potentially not a system-wide issue, but it seems to be maybe at a system level. I'm not sure. We'll obviously have to wait and see. I've never had any of those issues, and plenty of people were like, I've never had any of these issues. What's going on? Now, obviously, the hardcore ponies are like having to go at Digital Foundry, making it seem as though like it's an anti-Sony hit piece, and it's like there's been stuttering problems on PC, and it's like, you do understand they just report on the problems when they crop up. Like, they've reported on all the stuttering problems, all the performance problems on PC. They've never shied away from covering that, and they're covering this. It's some sort of math that's overflowing. I think it's an easy fix, says Paul. Right, this is not, obviously, anybody who runs with that as like a smoking gun, as like, oh, this is a huge problem and the PlayStation's got a serious problem and, oh, you guys bought this slop hardware, da-da-da. People that are going to try to run with that are just liars. You've got to start to use your deductive reasoning to see how many people are in this gaming space just lying for ad revenue. Like, they do not care about being accurate. They just don't. And they're heavily and consistently corrupting the conversation regularly with misinformation, obfuscation. The astroturfing is also well in place. It still is, right? I don't care how many hit dogs bark and get angry about me saying that. There's consistent astroturfing going on within people that are very, very quick to carry the banner for talking points and marketing talking points. It's crystal clear if you open your eyes. And when Digital Foundry comes out with the video about like a stuttering issue on the PS5, the PlayStation guys attacking them, you look silly. It's very clear that both Ollie and Alex did testing and found something strange going on. It's not an indictment of the console. It's not a serious or widespread problem. It's a very particular problem. And they just got done saying that a really popular, headline-bearing title, Assassin's Creed Shadows, is generational leap on the PS5 Pro. I think people just need to calm down, right? I really think people just need to calm down. Like I don't think that Digital Foundry has a dog in this fight. I really, really don't. Why are trolls years behind in commonly known information? Well, when your source of information is typically sifting everything through the sifting bowl of lies, obfuscation, fandom, and astroturfing, yeah, you're going to be behind because you're not going to know what the frick's going on. Do you think Sony's heavy investment in developers in their games is why the base PS5 punches above its weight compared to the Series X? What's good, Ghost in the Garage? We need to connect as well. If Derby is actually genuinely happening, I need to know because we'll have to make plans and get a sitter and stuff. So hit me up in the DMs. I think that's part of it, Ghost. It's one of the reasons why I said the Pro would be disruptive, because you're targeting the developers, and I think that creates a lean in the industry. Right? It creates a lean in the industry. Like, the industry's going to lean towards the platform that's working with them and helping them do cooler things and implement, like the developers of AC Shadows singing the praises of like working with PlayStation and Sony on the Pro and the PSSR implementation, and the Black Ops 6 developers working with Sony to develop proprietary anti-lag VRR. Like, devs are going to love this. Again, the guys that want to run drama and rage clicks are going to act like every little missteps, right? Every little misstep, every little problem is like some system-wide platform indictment, but it's like that's just such, it's always such exaggeration. Wife's car wreck, canceled the credit cards. I'll resubscribe once new. Oh, okay, you're good. You're good. I'm not worried about that. I just, hit me up in the DMs on Twitter, because if we are in fact gonna do Derby, I need time to get sitters and orchestrate stuff for the kiddos, because the kids would not be coming. I'm not bringing a 9 and an 11-year-old to Derby. shoot you my phone number. Okay, sounds good. Lono, did you see the first 10 seconds of Digital Foundry Xenoblade Chronicles X Switch review? It's brutal. Are you talking about the absolute violation when they put it side by side with Halo Infinite? I didn't see it. What essentially was the breakdown? If you guys are just tuning in and you're looking for info about GTA 6, I can give you the rundown really, really quickly. Strauss Zelnick did an interview explaining why GTA 6 Trailer 2, as well as the GTA 6 release date, is currently unknown. He was kind of seemingly, at least to me, passively asserting that it is on pace for this year, and he's essentially explaining why they haven't said anything yet, why they didn't say anything last year. You know what I mean? So if you guys are enjoying the show, though, we've been going for about an hour. Smash the heck out of the like button, but I got to do something really, really quickly. So if you use the chair command in chat, this is going to be something ongoing that we do because I sit in this thing every day, and this is a brand new chair that was sent to me. And you can use the chair command in chat. This is from Andaseat, and you can go to andaseat.com. You can use code LONO. You can use code LONO for $30 off. And I have never wanted a Racer. Some of you guys might like the Racer gamer chairs. I've not liked them since I switched to a high back ergonomic chair, which that's what this is. So I'm going to try and give you guys the second cam here. You can see how it gives you it's got the high back. It's very adjustable. Like if you're taller than me, right, this can come up and it can rotate, and it's way more comfortable than than the one that I previously had. Like the mesh is softer. How's the lean in the chair? I currently have the lean locked. I can whoop, I went down. Sorry. There you go. I currently have the lean locked. Now, if I unlock it, you can obviously lean back. I'm going to lock it because I like to just be straight up, right? You can adjust. You can see here, this is like totally adjustable. The armrests, they can come in, they can go back, they can go out. Like very, very customizable with that. And then you can also adjust how high this back part is. You can raise it up or you can lower it. And have to be working with them anytime you guys are looking for a comfortable, good chair. Yeah, the big wheels, it rolls on my carpet. I have like a soundproof carpet in the studio. It rolls on the carpet way easier than my previous chair. So this is the brand new model that they released. Let me give you the specifics on it. Hang on. Boom. This is the X Air series. It's the X Air series. It's right here. So they have multiple different colors. You can see the back I really, really like the look of the back. It's like very, very sturdy. Very sturdy. You can use the chair command in chat for a link. But they have lots of different colors as well. I just went with the black. They've got the Twilight. They've got the Celeste. I think it's a great chair. Very comfortable. Again, my perspective on chairs has changed after I spent numerous years in a Racer and then tried a high back ergonomic mesh chair. I prefer them significantly. So if you're in the market for a chair, give that a look. We appreciate them working with us. The GTA 6 Trailer 2 dropping April 29th. It makes sense at this point that Strauss said the other day it'll have the release date and pre-orders will go live in May and the game trailers at Summer Game Fest. I mean, at this point, we know we're guessing, right? I mean, that's mainly the issue, is that we're just flat out guessing, man. You and me both have been guessing for a couple of months, Christopher. You know, we've been guessing for a couple of months. So at this point, I think they do something in April. Because I think they want the trailer, the release date, and the pre-orders in the wild before the earnings call in May. That's my current gut on the situation. And again, if you guys haven't pressed the like button, let's get to 300 likes. We've only been live for about an hour. We were running the automatic ads test. I was running it again. It was terrible, so I shut it off. You guys being able to watch the stream uninterrupted is of the utmost importance to me, but that does mean that we may get our reach somewhat shrunk by that. I think YouTube wants people running it. So help out by hitting like, hitting share, letting other people know about the video, and contribute in chat by talking. That helps as well. we're kind of fighting an uphill battle with the platform because they don't really seem to prioritize live streams like they were for a while there. April 29th is a Tuesday. It's the exact same day GT4 released in 2008. It's before the earnings call, so it all tracks with what Rockstar usually does. I also thought that the theory about tomorrow was funny, like dropping a trailer on April the 1st, on April Fool's Day. There's something about that I'm like, yeah, maybe. Right? You know? Time to run it when the news is huge. I'm not sure what you're talking about. My boy's feet went from swinging to touching the floor on that drop. Sees, man, listen to you, okay? Like... I will bring a step stool when we finally go get steak, okay? I'll bring a step stool so I can properly slap you. Do you understand me? Do you know what you're dealing with here, sir? Don't try me, bro. Don't try me, all right? I'm like a spider monkey, you know? You better watch yourself. The trailer will be here when it's here. Happy to wait, even if it's 2026. Rockstar tends not to release unfinished products, minus a Trio remaster, of course. That wasn't even them, right? Didn't they have somebody else working on that? It explains the fringe he's compensating. Come on, Wooly, you're gonna get in on this? You're seriously gonna get in on this? Oh man, maybe. But Strauss killed that hope yesterday with his interview. April 29th is more likely now than the 1st. Don't you? This is what I felt like, though. I felt like Strauss was basically explaining the absence of the GTA 6 trailer. I don't think he was forecasting when it's going to land. He was basically explaining why it's not here. That's how I took it. I took it as like hey, we haven't said anything for a year and a half. You know, 3.5 foot pocket man. I'm not... Jiminy Christmas. You guys think I'm barely taller than a yardstick? Good golly. In any case, you bunch of jerks. Give me 300 likes if you're going to insult me about my height. We need 25 more likes, you slackers. Hit the thumbs up button, you meanies. Anyway, off topic, but do you think Destiny will ever have another game? I think PlayStation really, really wants another game, yes. I do. I think PlayStation wants another game. That's an interesting crop, Dave. You put me on that Wolverine. That's a crop of my head that gets used in a lot of hate hit pieces. Why do you have that? It's a little interesting. Destiny 3 absolutely has to happen if the franchise wants to bring in new players again. I said it with love. You guys are just being... Yeah, no. Guys, I don't take offense at short jokes. I don't. I've been short my entire life. It's not like suddenly alarming to me. Wait, is it? I feel like that's the same. I feel like that's one I see all of the time. You just cropped it from a random video? I swear I saw one just today on Twitter from somebody, and it was literally that crop. All stream tomorrow is fake news. Tomorrow is going to be a tough day to stream. That's one of the reasons I'm saving the Doom, the Dark Ages previews. I'm like, it's just going to be a bunch of nonsense, dude. It's going to be a bunch of lies and propaganda and fake outs. Like, everybody tries to cash in on the marketing. I do think it's funny when they do the blatant, obvious trailers. You know what I mean? I think when you do the blatant, obvious trailers and commercials that aren't real, I think that's fun. I think when people have fun with it, it's enjoyable. I think when people like genuinely try to trick folks, it's like, get the frick out of here. You know what I mean? Brenda says, yo, how are you? Thank you so much for being here. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for getting us right on the doorstep of 300 likes. There's plenty to talk about today. I do not have an upload for you. I sat down in the chair yesterday with the news, and I was like, there's nothing that I really felt like making a video about. We can shop some things this afternoon. To see if there's anything worth breaking down. And obviously there's things developing right now with games and timing and trailer and things like that. Can't wait for Joe Raptor video about the Atreus game of God of War. Elon, do you have any thoughts on what we may see from Halo this year? As far as we can tell from Halo this year, Master Chief Collection seems like it's going to make the jump. It seems like it's going to be making the jump to PlayStation and the Switch. I don't know if we're going to get any news on the next mainline Halo because they literally just announced last year that they're switching Halo Studios, they're switching to Unreal, they're hiring. We're probably a long ways out before we get any info on that game. Would just be my personal thought. I don't think, now I could be wrong on this one. I don't think they're going to bring Halo Infinite over. I don't know if that's the point. So the Doom is Woke people are really coming out after their guy got exposed. I mean, what are you going to do? Portal got delayed in transit, so now I'm trying to decide if I should use the potential refund towards the Switch 2. Master Chief Collection to PlayStation and Switch would be very interesting. There's an awful lot of folks with connections, folks with inside intel that are saying that that's basically happening, right? That is that's been a continued point. Oh, my Chrome's going to crash. Hang on. I need to refresh the chat. There we go. Do you think the Halo Master Chief Collection on PlayStation comes with all the multiplayer modes, or will they cut it similar to how they've handled the Gears Collection? Yeah, the rumor is that the Gears Collection was going to come without PvP, but it was going to have the co-op or something. And I think Detective Seeds and Jez Corden both confirmed they had heard that. Am I getting that right? I think both of them said, "Oh yeah, no multiplayer in the collection, but it will have co-op or something like that." I feel like that's what we heard for Gears. The Gears Collection, I think that's a summer announcement with a short release window, and then we're hearing that the Oblivion remake is next month, likely a shadow drop as well. Yeah. It seems like there's no room on the calendar before September. Basically before August. Basically, August and back is nuts. It's just there's stuff every month. It just is we're 1 day away from April, and April's gonna be nuts, and then May's gonna be nuts, and then June's gonna be nuts. You know what I mean? No PvP. There is co-op. There he is. Detective Seeds is in chat. So if the Gears Collection's doing that, I guess I could see them doing that with the Master Chief Collection, but I just don't know. I feel like that's one of the major draws of the fans to the MCC is hey, you can go play the classic PvP with your buds. Perfect Image, we've kind of already answered this question here. Could there be a possible GTA 6 trailer this summer? Yeah. I thought that was crying. My kids are laughing. I was like, oh no, someone just fell down the stairs or something. I was like, oh, they're just playing. Good luck leaving your house this summer. It's gonna be insane. It's gonna be impossible to find time for all these games. I feel like the Master Chief Collection going to PlayStation would have the PvP involved if they are taking their first step. That's what I've always thought. To me, it kind of made sense for the Gears Collection because I was like, well, if they're wanting people to buy Gears of War E-Day and play there, maybe they don't see the point in building the infrastructure for the servers and the peer-to-peer and the listen servers, however it works. I don't know. I don't remember how all the Gears servers worked. I remember the infrastructure for some of the Gears was frustrating because it was peer-to-peer, and basically the host advantage was ridiculous. So I could see them doing that with Gears, maybe, because they're focusing on Gears of War E-Day, and they want people, hyper-fixated and focused on that. But I also think that, and I know people do not like this opinion, it's less of an opinion and more of a statement of fact. I also think game companies are steering away from spending a lot of time on arena PvP, given the nature of the industry. Doom the Dark Ages cut PvP, and they said that it helped them do things like the Dragon in the Doom the Dark Ages campaign. Now I know Doom is not Halo and Gears. I'm not saying they're equal. I'm not saying that, okay? That'd be very easy to misconstrue what I'm saying. I am absolutely not saying they're the same. I know there's a much larger draw for Gears PvP and even Halo PvP than Doom. But we've also seen similar trends with Quake, like the efforts to kind of have like this comeback of like the arena style shooter PvP, and it's been difficult. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't do it. It just means there's just a part of me that thinks some studios might say, is this worth the trouble? Right? Historically speaking, yes, PvP in Halo and Gears was big, okay? Historically speaking, that is true. In 2025 and 2026 and beyond, like when the next mainline Halo lands, like 2026 or 2027, is the demand for that style of PvP still there? Okay? It would, like, I could imagine the next mainline Halo launching and the PvP looking more like Helldivers and it being more PvE, or the PvP being more like a battle royale, and then there's like a PvE that's more like Helldivers. And then with Gears, just track with me here. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm just imagining these are possibilities. I think these are just possibilities. Imagine a Gears where they saw the success of Helldivers 2 and they thought, maybe we should lean more into things like Horde mode and remember Beast mode, where you could like literally play as a boomer and like attack live players. Like that was PvP, but it wasn't like arena PvP. It was more of like a fun... Beast mode almost felt like a party mode kind of thing. It was like Horde mode combined with, your buds. And then there's also the ability, I think, to look at Space Marine 2 and what they've done with their PvE and their ongoing structures, as well as I know they have PvP. I know they do. But I just wonder where the primary player base is landing. Like, if we could get a breakdown of where players are spending most of their time in a game like Space Marine 2. Are they spending most of their time on the operations with their buddies and grinding and getting all of the stuff and leveling and customizing their build? Or are they spending a greater percentage of their time in PvP? I'm not at all saying that these games won't have it. I'm just imagining, like, listen, don't be so certain that, like, you're going to get an identical sort of packaging in the future. Like, oh yeah, Gears of War E-Day, it's going to be just like all the Gears in the past. Like, it's just definitely going to have all the same PvP. It's like, maybe they lean towards Helldivers. Maybe they lean towards something that's more like what Space Marine did. I don't know. I'm not saying that I know. I'm not even making a prediction. I'm just saying I would keep an open mind is all I'm saying, because people really think that, like, oh no, this is definitely going to happen. And with Halo especially, I'm like, I just don't know if the demand is there in the market. I think the hardcore audience, they bristle at this. They think it's ridiculous. But it's like, do you think the lion's share of the player pool, the gamers that are out there, and again, you got to consider the next mainline Halo is going to be multi-plat, going to be hitting PlayStation. Do you think that audience is going to be receptive to a PvP experience that is very much just like the Halos of old? Not saying that it won't. I could just see studios, developers, and market research saying that's kind of a lost cause at this point. The industry and the player base seems to have moved on. BR is taking over multiplayer as a plague. I don't agree with that perspective. I don't. Something new came to the market. People liked it. It's been replicated. It's been refined. It's been evolved. And people are continuing to play and like it. The same thing happened with Arena. Arena shooters, PvP, from Doom and Quake 2, Quake 3. And then Quake 3 had its mods like Rocket Arena. Then Unreal Tournament. Okay? All of those things were like sort of the seedbed for something like Halo's PvP. Halo's PvP and Unreal Tournament, there's a lot of similarities with like Capture the Flag and the vehicles, and there was a lot of similarities there. I think there was a lot of give and take and inspiration, and it kind of went back and forth a little bit both ways. But as we've continued to watch the industry and the player bases sort of shift and move, I just think demand for that style of PvP has gone down significantly, which makes it very hard to be a successful arena style, PvP shooter. BR shouldn't be the new mode every shooter should be doing at the detriment of the old arena combat. But you're saying at the detriment, isn't it just them responding to player demand? I'm not even saying my preferences here. I'm not out here playing. I'm not out here playing battle royales. I'm not out here playing PvP. I'm just looking at the market and I'm saying, I don't know, man. I think Splitgate 2 is going to run into similar problems. I think 6 months in, it's going to be like, we just can't keep players playing. I think Fragpunk already is experiencing that, right? And I thought Fragpunk looked better than Concord back in the day. I thought, man, that looks like it's more fun. But even it is dropping, which again, this is what I've always said. This is what you're going to face. So when it launches, it hits 100,000. It drops into 90s, then 80s, right? Player peaks in the 80s, then the 60s, then the 60s, then the 60s and 70s, then down to 40s, 20s. See? It's like you're now hitting player peaks 1/4 of what you once were when you first came out. Now, again, that could be it's early access, it's beta, it's got rough edges, it needs to improve, blah, 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 blah. You can pinpoint any issue you want, but they all hit the same pattern. They all do. They all hit the same exact pattern of steady decline. That's not an indictment. That's not hate. It's just the reality. It's like gravity. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if there are studios right now crunching the numbers, they're watching games rise and fall, and they're saying, I don't know if this is worth our efforts. Fragpunk is in the tactical shooter genre, so I'm not sure it's the same situation. I'm trying to give you a wide breadth of examples of games that are attempting to do the non-battle royale, whatever that is. And the success rates are rare. They really, really are. I mean, if you, like Valorant did it, right? But how many others have come out and have not? Even within battle royales, there have been games that have come out and have failed. And then within arena style or arena size, it's just the size. It's an arena instead of a battle royale. Whether it's Halo Infinite or X Defiant or Splitgate or the next Gears, right? I think you're always going to run into the problem of it's a meat grinder and the PvP folks have moved on. They just have. The PvP mob has moved on from the meat grinder. Did you get a chance to look at Sony admitting the deal with Black Myth Wukong? They didn't admit to anything unless there's been new information. All I saw was them admitting they helped them. That's not new information. I've not seen a smoking gun yet, FCAT. It's just that was public information. We covered it at the time. We said, yeah, I have very reliable sources that tell me PlayStation assisted with bringing the game to the PlayStation, which, hold on to your hats, boys, they do that all of the time. They help the Black Ops 6 devs with PSSR, denoising, and an anti-lag VRR. They recently were on record as helping the Assassin's Creed Shadows developers. I've not seen any evidence of a secret exclusivity deal. Maybe there's a backseat handshake. Listen, let's just ask the question. If you're trying to bring your product to store green or store blue, and store blue is helping you expedite the process, where do you think the game's going to land first if, as seen, evidenced in the game at launch, it wasn't very polished on console? Where do you think the game's landing first? A secret exclusivity deal with no marketing, with no public benefit whatsoever. Now, yes, it increased demand to PlayStation 5 in China, which certainly benefits their efforts in China. But Black Myth Wukong coming to PlayStation first is not evidence of a secret exclusivity deal. It's evidence of PlayStation is quicker to work with and help developers. I mean, Look, we have it on good authority that Xbox is slow to respond to devs. This came out last year. It came out last year. That they're slow to respond. They don't respond in a quick fashion. There were multiple more medium-sized games last year that were coming late, and one of them basically came out and said, "We can't get a response. we can't get a response." And there were pro Xbox guys that were appropriately critical of that. Like, what are you doing? This sort of thing should not be happening. FCat's talking like a bot. FCat didn't say anything. He just asked me about it. He's not said anything since, I don't think. Why did you say there's a GTA 6 trailer 2 update? There's no update. Sure, there was an update. The CEO of Take-Two, Strauss Zelnick, did an interview and spoke specifically to why we have not seen GTA 6 trailer 2, why we don't have a GTA 6 release date. That's an update. That's news. It was everywhere. It was in every headline. Every major gaming news outlet covered it. Every major YouTuber covered it. If you don't think that that's newsworthy, I don't know what to tell you. One of the largest publishers in the world, their CEO sat down to do an interview and spoke with specificity as to why we've basically seen nothing about that game. We other than the trailer from like a year and a half ago. FCat's been repeating that question multiple times. That's why people are saying he sounds like a bot. Wait, is that really him? That's not it. I don't know if that's... No, that's FCat. That's FCat because he had a membership. It's a brand new... It's only a month-old account. I always prefer you guys come in here on your real accounts. I don't know why you have such a fresh account. Apparently Phil Rosenberg commented on it. Black Myth Wukong PlayStation. Phil Rosenberg. They received tons of support from Sony. Leadership spotlight from 4 days ago. Black Myth and Stellar Blade are examples of this. There's nobody better, he said, than Christian Svensson and Sean Benson at finding these hidden gems and nurturing up and coming companies. Moreover, the third-party account management team and the partner development team at Sony provided tons of support to games like Black Myth, Wukong, Stray, and more, as they are often the first points of contact. There were rumors earlier last year that Black Myth Wukong had not been released on Xbox due to an exclusivity deal with Sony. Also, a Microsoft representative later added that the delay was not due to platform limitations. However, early this year, the CEO and founder of Game Science confirmed that the Xbox port for Black Myth Wukong didn't arrive due to optimization issues on the Series S. In other news, a Black Myth Wukong knockoff appeared on the Nintendo Store. Yeah, it's a separate story. That's it. That's what I said. That there's no story there. There is no story there. This is not a smoking gun. It's old news. We knew that PlayStation was helping them. And the interview is indicating they didn't just do this for Black Myth. They did it for Stray. They did it for Stellar Blade. You know what the headline should be? PlayStation has better relationships with third-party developers. Like, it's just another commercial. It's just another advertisement to not invest in building up your library or investing in Xbox hardware, because Xbox doesn't have the relationships with third-party developers the way that PlayStation does. Do we need to do a rundown of everything that's happened? Phil Spencer passively blames Larian at Gamescom in an interview with Destin Legary. He passively blames Larian for Baldur's Gate 3 not being on Xbox yet, says there's no hardware limitations. What happens 24 hours later? Larian says, Baldur's Gate 3 is coming to Xbox and we're not doing the split screen co-op for the Series S. Basically, like, you're going to take the game without parity and you're going to shut the frick up. If you want to sit down and do interviews and you want to passively blame us, that's fine, Phil. You can take the game or leave it. I thought that was one of the best flexes that I've ever seen. It was beautiful because I took issue with that interview. I was very critical of Phil for that interview. I've always told you guys, I thought that was very unprofessional the way he handled that. And then when a spokesperson comes out and says there's no hardware limitation that's preventing Black Myth Wukong from coming to Xbox, I want you to ask yourself a question. I really want you to ask yourself a question. I want you to imagine you're a third-party developer. Does that make you want to make games for Xbox? Do you want to make sure your game can come to Xbox? Listen to all the things, listen to all the glorious things you get to do. According to multiple companies, you get slow response from the platform. You don't get help the way you do from PlayStation. Oh, and also, you have to do extra work to make sure the game can run on a weaker system, obviously requiring you to do more work with optimization, or just removing features entirely like, I don't know, split screen co-op. 343 abandoned split screen. Larian ships it without split screen and basically just gets tired of trying, so they push the game out without it. You want to do all that. Oh, and then by the way, if your game's going to come to Xbox late, Phil Spencer or a Microsoft spokesperson will basically passively blame you and claim there's no issue with the hardware. So, do you think it's a smoking gun that now we have an interview indicating that PlayStation works directly with third-party developers, like on games like Stray, Stellar Blade, Black Myth Wukong? We just heard recently that the devs for Black Ops 6 worked directly with PlayStation to get PSSR implementation denoised, or to get anti-lag VRR added for the PS5 Pro version. Or how about the developers of AC Shadows saying they worked heavily with PlayStation to get the game at such a high degree of performance on the PlayStation 5 Pro? Which company do you want to build your game for? They eventually got the feature on the Series S. I'm talking about third-party developers watching all this play out. Seriously, imagine you're a third-party developer and you watch all those things play out, everything that I just said. Who do you want to build your game for? Who do you want to work with? Who are you calling first? Who are you reaching out to first? Who? We have one side with a track record of not working with the third-party devs well, or being slow to respond, or just flat out blaming them for a game coming late. Or you can work with PlayStation, and they work directly with you. They've made a new device, the PS5 Pro, that quite literally offers something that developers want, which is more ray tracing, more advanced ray tracing. Oh, and they'll assist you with development as well. They'll help you get the game running as good as possible. Why doesn't Microsoft have the level of support for their games? Wasn't reported that Microsoft gives the cold shoulder a lot of the time, like with Baldur's Gate 3? I don't know if there's evidence that they gave the cold shoulder to Larian, but last year, there were multiple devs that came out that said they were having trouble getting a response from Xbox. It was around the time that all the Black Myth stuff was cropping up, and it was like Anatria or somebody, I can't remember who, somebody spoke to the fact that they had been waiting for a response, and another developer chimed in and said, yeah, we've been dealing with the same problem. We can't get, Xbox is slow to respond or won't respond. I don't know the reason why. I don't know the reason why. I don't know what's going on. I don't know, I've seen people attributed this to Satya's leadership. They blame him, but this Black Myth Wukong story, I am here to tell you, it's not a smoking gun. Every bleed green person that tries to run with this as a smoking gun, you are once again kicking the ball in your own net and you don't even realize it. You're just telling the public and continuing to spread a story to the public that basically says, yeah, PlayStation's going to work with you to help get the game to the platform. I guess if you just want to run advertisements for PlayStation being a superior platform and company, go right ahead. All right, go right ahead. Run the story. Do it. Run the story. Run the headlines. Go for it. Joke's on you. You're inadvertently promoting the fact that PlayStation's a better company to dev for and work with. PlayStation just 2 hours ago pushed out a Doom the Dark Ages advertisement. Hypercharge replied and says Doom story the Dino Ages with their own trailer. That's funny. Wasn't there a Callisto Protocol was helped by Sony? The UE5 Matrix demo had Coalition help? I still don't know what to think. Well, Coalition assisting with stuff with Unreal, that's not surprising to me. I'm talking about Microsoft, like as an organization. As an organization, their relationships with third party, it has been very, very bad this gen. You can't sit down and do an interview like Phil did and passively blame the developer of the game of the year for coming to your platform late. And then you want to do it with Black Myth Wukong, one of the most commercially successful games the year that it came out, and you've got a Microsoft spokesperson passively blaming the devs and being like, there's no hardware limitation. Oh my gosh. It's a nightmare. It's like you guys are burning bridges with third-party devs left and right. Who would want to build for you guys? Street Shadow with a $10 super chat. Sony has a clear pattern of providing very hands-on support. When they identify a game that has great strategic potential for them, sometimes they will turn it into a marketing deal as well. Thank you, Street Shadow, for the $10. He said, yeah, Callisto Protocol team used Sony's audio studio in San Diego for their audio. I don't know what to tell you. All I know is from the outside looking in, I've said for a while that PlayStation was smartly targeting developers and that would be disruptive. And I think we're seeing evidence of that. I really, really do. I think you're seeing evidence of that. And I don't know how. So I saw a clip arguing this point that basically this is what they think is going to happen. So in the future, they're sort of postulating and theorizing that like building for Xbox will be better because you're only going to have to build one thing. Which is quite literally the opposite of what's going to happen if you have, you know, an Asus Xbox branded OEM handheld, if you have a PC hybrid console, Series S and X, as well as a litany of PC combinations. The idea that you're building for one thing, huh? Like what? What does that even mean? And then the question was posed, well, then why are developers, you know, sort of complaining about the Series S? And it was like, well, people like to complain. And it's like, it's once again, the mantra from that side, the mantra from the bleed green side is hashtag blame the devs. And I've said for years now, you're not going to like what happens if you keep doing that. If you're just going to keep going hashtag blame the devs, you're compounding an existing problem. Your hardware is selling like junk. It's selling like crap. You're in a tailspin and a downward spiral compared to last gen. Your user base is like, is it on Game Pass? Your user base makes fun of people publicly for buying games. That's great. And now your user base and your pundits, your podcasts, your whatever you want to call them, they blame the devs, they vilify the devs. And it's not hard to see why they do it. They're following the dog whistle of Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer blew that dog whistle in that interview with Destin. The Microsoft spokesperson blew that dog whistle in that interview where they said there's no hardware limitation. What do you think Bleed Green podcasters and YouTubers and pundits and bloggers or whatever, what do you think they're going to do when they hear that? That's a dog whistle. Well, blame the devs. It's the same thing they do when they blow the dog whistle of villainizing exclusives. I told you, I said when Phil said what he said about Helldivers, I said, you watch. They're going to start to villainize exclusives. And here we are. That's exactly what they're doing. So there's a concerted effort. There's been a concerted effort to just sort of like take those things that are said or signaled from Phil or spokespersons and just circulate it. And I kept saying, if you keep doing this blame the devs thing, devs are lazy, blame the devs, devs' fault, devs should do more work. Okay, we'll see how that works out for you. We'll see if that really creates a healthy relationship between third-party developers and the smallest platform in the market. If anything, you would think the opposite would be happening. You would think that they'd be going the extra mile to work with developers. They'd be doing extra work and going above and beyond to help developers bring games to their platform because you're the smallest. You fostered a culture of non-purchase with Game Pass, and they have to do extra work for the Series S. It's like, You can turn it into a meme, blaming the Series S for everything. That's just a dodge. You're just dodging the reality. You can't spend 5 years touting that you don't buy games, you prefer Game Pass, and you blame developers when games take longer to come to your platform or you're slow to respond to developers. Goodness gracious. I mean, why don't you just speed run nobody wanting to build games for your platform? Series S will be obsolete in 2 years. Book it? Of course it will. I mean, that'll be 7 years into the gen. That'll be the time to let it go. That'll be the time to cut bait. It's been hard for the devs to put real work into the games when literally no one... Right. The reality they built on their platform, I continue to think that people they're going to downplay... A lot of what I'm saying will get downplayed and get turned into, Xbox bad. And it's like, no, this is stuff I've been saying for this entire gen about how mishandled everything has been with that side. And now you're seeing examples of it. And the Black Myth Wukong story is just one more example of how much you will break your neck from the spin. Like, the spin machine will break your neck. It's like... You're literally going to spin PlayStation helping a studio into secret exclusivity deal? Like, that's what you're going to do? Like, all right, go ahead. You're just making one platform a whole lot more appealing. I can't see it any other way. Well, the people that aren't going to buy Steam Hybrid for PlayStation games, they want Steam. If a PlayStation was going to get it, most likely... for no online pay and cheaper games. I don't understand the point that you're making. You're going to have to try that again. Zubair says, will be. I'm not sure what you're asking. Will be what? Xbox seems like there's no self-awareness about how tone-deaf and incompetent they are. Game Pass used to hide all their features, and now it's coming home to roost. Now they're going to hide behind publishing. Oh, hide all their failures. Xbox hid all their failures. I don't know if Xbox hid their failures, but I just think they've been consistently. It feels to me like they've just tried something new every gen, or tried this, tried that, and it just hasn't worked. And I feel like Nintendo and PlayStation have stuck to their core competencies, and they've stuck to messaging, they've stuck to the same plan, and it worked. So, me and Trip are chatting about that. Okay. Any news on Ghost of Yotei? Yes, during my show open, I outlined all the new details about Ghost of Yotei. And basically, they published a new update on their website, and it detailed a bunch of new things, and it reaffirmed the 2025 release date. That's another thing we've had to deal with. That's another thing that's been frustrating, is fan fiction writers just spreading the complete unsubstantiated rumor that Yotei had been delayed. They did this with Spider-Man 2 and God of War Ragnarok. And the reason I'm hard and heavy on this is because I just think it continually needs to be called what it is. It's just dishonesty. It's just an effort to mislead people. If you were accurately reporting when games were coming and when they were scheduled, and not just creating these insane ideas. Like, anytime that I said that I thought Fable was delayed, I always said that I felt it in my gut. I was never saying, oh no, it's delayed, or oh, I heard it's delayed. I said, I feel it in my gut. And I said, I always thought that the game that got, replaced by Outer Worlds 2 coming back earlier in the calendar to replace something that had been delayed, I always said, I think that that's Fable. I never believed that it was Perfect Dark. I never believed that for a second. And so, but I always made sure to couch it that you knew, I feel this in my gut. This is a gut instinct thing. I try to make that clear to people so that I'm not misleading you and making you think that Reforge got the inside track and it got delayed. Funny enough, my gut is got a decent batting average. I was right. Fable had been delayed out of this year. Does Xbox even have a core competency anymore? Did they ever? I feel like Sony and Nintendo just caught up. Plus, Xbox just tried to be everything all at once. What do you mean Sony and Nintendo just caught up? Caught up to what? What are they catching up to? Perfect Dark devs had 5% laid off. That shouldn't be too disruptive. I mean, that's a bummer when people get laid off, but that shouldn't be too disruptive to the development of the project. That's not a significant number. The Wii U generation was bad. They hurried and they ported all those games to the Switch for a retry. Delayed for a PS5 port, allegedly. Caught up to PC. Yeah, I'm not sure what he meant by caught up. I would need that explained. I mean, the initial question is a good question. I don't know. I don't know. If you guys are tuning in for news about GTA 6 and the GTA 6 trailer, Strauss Zelnick, the CEO of Take-Two, he did an interview and he spoke pretty frankly about why we've basically seen and heard nothing for a year and a half. They take a very different approach to marketing, and their approach to marketing basically means you don't get anything until you're a lot closer to the game releasing. Now, I think part of what he was doing is giving a bit of a wink and a nudge to say that the game is still coming this year, that it is still on pace for this year, but it would basically make sense as to why they didn't do anything in 2023 and why they still haven't said anything. I'm sorry, they didn't do anything in 2024 and why they still haven't done anything in 2025. This continues to, again, feel like they're going to do something in, I think they're going to do something in April, and they'll then do their earnings call in May, and then the marketing will kick up in May. We've got it on, pretty reliable authority that May is when the marketing kicks up and the PlayStation will be involved. If you guys have not hit the like button yet, consider doing so. Hit that like button. Try to get us to 400 likes. That would be greatly appreciated. GTA is a July release, I think. No, I don't agree with that. They wouldn't say fall to the shareholders and say that they're confident in the release timing of the fall, and then do it in the summer. That wouldn't make any sense. Nintendo isn't catching up to anyone. Like, Sony didn't have a lot of features that Xbox Live had for a while. Party chat, tough development due to the PS3 architecture, etc. Wait, so you're arguing they're playing catch up from back then? Like, I don't think they're playing catch up. Like PS4, you could argue that they pushed hard and that they tried to basically get back out, get back into a dominant position if there was trouble during PS3 era, but because they pushed exclusivity and that really helped them in the absence of Xbox pushing exclusivity. I don't know about catching up though. Like I feel like the PS4 Xbox One era could have been a knockdown, drag-out fight, but it kind of wasn't. I don't know if there was any catching up going on. Now, if you want to talk about like adding features and stuff, I don't know if features are really what sells a console or what really gets people, onto a platform. I think games are what do that. I continue to think that's the giant glaring omission from people acting like, well, this is where the industry's going, and it's like, July 4th market, nobody will be marking that. You would never tell your shareholders it's coming in fall and then all of a sudden surprise everybody and drop it in July. That's nonsensical. Misleading your shareholders is pretty big deal. That would be unwise, and I see no grounds to believe that they would do that. I think that's the glaring omission in the discussion, though, about, games are going everywhere. This is where the industry's going. I just think they're going to make it even easier for Nintendo and PlayStation to cement that's not possible. That's not true, and that games still move the industry. They still move people to platforms, whether it's a new Mario Kart or, exclusives. I mean, we've already heard predictions about GTA 6. Just think about it from this perspective. Don't even think about exclusivity with respect to first party, second party, third party. GTA 6 is already anticipated to be a console mover. Why? Because you can't get it on PS4. Because you can't get it on Xbox One. You can't get it on PC. Right? Think about that for a second. That right there proves that this whole this is where the industry's going. Games are just going to have to kind of be everywhere, and I guess in their mind, Xbox is ahead of the curve. I think we have evidence right now in the market that that's not true. It isn't. GTA 6 by itself is proving that. Why? People that can't get it where they are will switch so that they can get it. Oh, I can't get it on my PS4? Time to get a PS5. Oh, I can't get it on my PC? It's time to consider a console. I don't want to wait. We've already seen people saying this. We've seen people saying this in the public. GTA 6 is going to have an impact on console sales. Does that not then drive home the point? Oh, but it's a multi-plat. No. Listen to what I'm saying. All it takes is I can't get it unless I buy that. That's the equation. Well, it's not an exclusive. It simply shows that when someone can't get a game on the platform they currently have, they will buy a new platform to play the game. Whether it's upgrading from a PS4 to a PS5 or refusing to wait, and PC guys are going to buy, a PS5 or a Pro or a Series X. Who knows? I hooked up my my AT&T tech. He was like, man, what do you do? And he was so friendly and he was so nice and he did such a good job. He was like, man, do you have any consoles you're trying to get rid of? And I was like, well, I have 2 standard PS5s I've been meaning to trade in so I can get a third Pro. And he's like, oh man, I've been trying to get a PS5. He has the Portal, and but he could only play the cloud games because he said he had just moved and money was tight. So after he left, I felt bad and I was like, I'm gonna help this guy out. So I texted him and I'm like, I tell you what, I was like, one of my PlayStations is literally just sitting in a box. I know I could trade it in and get a pretty good amount for it. I don't need to do that, right? I've been blessed, and you guys have been showing the support, and I was like, what could you offer? I basically just let him offer, and he's like $150, and I was like, it's yours. So I plugged it up. I reset it. I had an extra Astrobot controller that I was gonna use for a giveaway. I just gave it to him. So he got a PS5 in mint condition, basically, because I treat them very well. It's mint condition, Spider-Man plates, and an Astrobot controller for $150. He's probably telling his friends, like, oh my gosh, I got such a deal. And I was like, listen, I like helping out gamers. That thing was sitting in a freaking box. I've been blessed. It's like, you take it. I don't need it. The extra $150 maybe that I would have got on trade-in, I was like, that's not worth it to me. He was pretty pumped. Could have been me. Yeah, could have been anybody. I was like, I like helping out gamers. Did he sub? Oh, I don't care about that. Now, I got his number, so if I have any issues with AT&T Fiber, he's like, I'll take care of you. You have any issues, you give me a call. And I'm like, you better believe I will. You better believe it. I like having a contact. I'm always very friendly with the techs. I'm always asking them about, how's it going? How's their job? Do they like it? How long they've been doing it? Because it's like, I need your number, because if I have any issues, I'm calling you, right? And after he left, I told my son, I was like, we should sell him one of the PS5s. And he's like, we should. I was like, let's do it. So, Yeah. That made me feel good. I was like, because I know what that's like. I was like, this guy's like, he's like, I only got the portal. He's like, we just moved, so money's tight. And I was like, what could you offer? You have AT&T Fiber? They were being like hyper aggressive. They're like, you're going to lose service if you don't upgrade. I was like, Jiminy Christmas. Fine. So I was worried about interruption. So I just stressed to the lady on the phone. I was like, I cannot have my service shut off until the guy comes and does this. She's like, it won't shut off. I was like, okay. It comes out on a Saturday. He's like, it'll take a while. I'm like, that's fine. My boy and I were staying home. My daughter and my wife went to like a baby shower. So my son and I played Risk the whole time. 2-player Risk is actually really fun. And he got it all installed, and it's a gig up, a gig down. I have not messed with bitrate. I wanted to do 1 day right now on these settings, and then I'm going to bump it and see what it looks like and how it feels, especially for gameplay. We've got gameplay streams forthcoming like South of Midnight this week. And I want to see it bump in the bitrate, just helps clean it up a little bit more, because we're running like a 9500. I think I'd like to run like a 12 just to see. I should look up some recommendations on bitrate, like what should I bump it to, because now I don't have any issue. I have no limit. Like I'm not gonna be able to use the entire gig. Also, there could be opportunities in the future of multi-streaming. Sometimes we've thought about maybe doing a mobile stream and also doing, this, or maybe streaming on Twitter, or maybe streaming, on Kick or something like that. So if there's ever an opportunity for us to multi-stream, I've got plenty of bandwidth to do it now. So, yeah. Watch out for those ATT support fees. Oh yeah, I'm sure like when the promos and stuff drop off, it'll get kind of expensive. Right now, they upgraded me and it was cheaper than what I was paying. So, yeah. Make it Jiminy Christmas. It needs to be merch immediately. We're working on our own website. Yeah. We're working on all that. Level up your lives with Super Chat goals. Turn those streams into games and watch engagement and earnings climb. Have they made any updates to the Super Chat goals, or is it the exact same? It seems like it's the same. I still think they just need one up there for members. I think that would be more effective for us. Which we're going to be pretty off pace this week, starting today on the member goal. This guy says he's 50 hours into Death Stranding. He's only at episode 3. Holy crap. He's doing a lot. What you doing, mama? No, I'm working, babe. Get out of here. Okay. AT&T Fiber's rock solid. I'm locked in the 1 gig. Yeah, it's great. I haven't had any issues. It'll be really interesting if we ever have an opportunity to multi-stream, like what it'll look like. Like, I don't know what the bandwidth would look like. I don't know, like if I do a speed test on my streaming rig right now, like, would it mess with, because I've got the gaming rig, and I've got them both running on the fiber. Like, if my other rig runs a speed test, once it hits the upload, is it going to mess with my bandwidth at all? Or do I have so much that it just doesn't matter? I'm actually kind of curious. I'm running a speed test right now. So the download just finished. Let me see here. No, it's not fluctuating at all. That's insane. Like, it's doing like a 900 meg upload test right now. And it didn't even move on the bit rate on Task Manager. Jiminy. You got to get into cloud gaming. I was like, need to give you 1 gig for free. Yeah, the only thing I'd like to do now, the only thing I'd like to do now is experiment with the portal on it, right? I'd really like to experiment with the portal on it and just see on like a Saturday if that really helps with the portal, right? You connect to the router? Of course, yes. I've been streaming for a decade, and you're like, did you plug in? Are you hardwired in? No, I'm Wi-Fi. Of course I'm hardwired in, Trill. The frick? I would say 25,000 would be a good option. 25,000 on the bit rate? Okay. I don't even know. That seems insanely high. We're doing basically like 9,000 right now. What would be the reason to almost triple it? 25 meg. Yeah, I've not done research into why would you bump it so much. What would be the what would that do? One nugget of knowledge about the GTA trailer in the news. We are likely not seeing anything yet because companies are moving into new fiscal years. News coming out around May makes a lot more sense. That's the max that YouTube will let you use. 25,000 and up is only for 4K. Yeah, I'm doing a 1440 stream, so we could probably get away with lower than that. Would be better for the gameplay streams for sure. Okay, we can obviously experiment. We've got a lot of leg room here. I tell you what we're gonna do. We've had a perfectly fine day. We're so far off pace on the member goal, though. I'll give you guys until, I guess, like 2. Yeah, 2. I don't want to give you just 15 minutes. That's too short. 50K is the max 50 meg up. I'll give you guys until 2. If you want to extend, we gotta be on pace. So we'd have to hit 100. I'm not sure if what we've really seen like none today. Most of those are we've had 2 5 bombs. Most of those are re-ups. So make sure you're always checking your re-ups, or you can sign up brand new with Member Plus. Make sure if you do sign up brand new and you're paying for it for yourself that you are doing Member Plus and not doing the standard Member Lite. Member Lite's reserved for the gifteds. They don't get into all of the content. An example, Sony's Q1 fiscal 25 starts tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Take-Two's next earnings call is May. So I think oh no, wait. Is it May or April? And a 5 bomb comes in from Behemoth. I was going to say, I haven't even had to pay yet. You guys haven't made me pay. Holy crap, Hyde! Oh, I forgot Hyde said he was going to do this. A 50 bomb from Hyde! He says, we will get there. He just had, I believe this man had a promotion and really wanting to pay it forward. Thank you so much, Hyde. You've been around a long time. That is insane. Congrats on the promotion and the pay raise and for paying it forward to all the people here. Hyde says, I promised. I remember you promised. I'd forgotten all about it. I really did. And then all of a sudden it hit the chat and I was like, oh, I remember. The man himself gets a big pay raise. Thank you, sir. Paying that forward to others is so kind. Insider Gaming is reporting that developers are saying Nintendo Switch 2 dev kits don't have 4K output. I don't think that's a worry. I don't think that's a worry. I was hoping for 1440. If they're upscaling to 1440, that gives me greater confidence we could get a lot of 60 FPS out of the device. You know? Chat's kind of taking over right now. Guys, do me a favor. He just hit a 50 bomb. Why don't you guys do 50 likes? Let's try to get to 400 likes before this stream ends. I'm keeping an eye on the news feeds just to see if there is anything that's hitting that's worth talking about. YouTube has switched off ad revenue for fake movie trailer channels. This follows a report that some Hollywood studios were secretly ensuring that the ad revenue from these AI-heavy videos flowed in their direction. They'll no longer make money through ads for their trailer concepts. What if the... I don't know if I agree with that. What if the thumbnail and title clearly marks it as a fan-made trailer? Just because they use AI? I'd be interested to know what the reasoning behind that is. Would Switch 2 release in the fall or summer? Right now, Adam King, in the show open, I outlined all that we know, and all that we know is heavily pointing at this. The Nintendo Switch 2 Direct is in 2 days on April the 2nd. 7 days later, on April the 9th, pre-orders will open, and then the device will ship to consumers in June. That's pretty much... That's about as concrete as it gets. The number of sources that have corroborated these claims, it's a lot. It's a lot. So I think that's where we're landing. Official YouTube fact for bitrate. Oh, thank you, Paul. Let me take a look at this. So right now we're doing 1440/60. They're recommending 24. Okay. All right. I don't think I can change that when I'm streaming. I know that they wait, can I? No, I totally can. I didn't know I could do that. You didn't used to be able to do that in the past. I just bumped it to 10. We are in the future. Dude, I'm such an old school streamer. This is future. You could never do stuff like that in the past, bro. You couldn't. You could not. You would have to shut everything down and try again. I don't know if that affects YouTube specifically. I can see in OBS that we're at 10K now. We're at 10K bitrate. And the GPU is sitting at a 20%. It's a 35 Celsius. Like, it's not even noticing. You can on Twitch. Have they changed anything on Twitch, Wired Rope? Like, you remember back in the day when I streamed on Twitch and you would get disconnected and then reconnect, it would start a whole new stream. Does it still do that? Because on YouTube, if I get disconnected and then reconnect, it just keeps it all as one stream. It's all one video. Have they changed that over there? I've not been over there for like 5 years. How does it? I'm actually curious if they've upgraded that tech over there. Seems like Stellar Blade is getting a Raven DLC. A Raven DLC. The Hogwarts DLC got canceled. That was kind of a bummer. They have stream protection for a period of time. Okay. Yeah, because on YouTube, like, the ingest server will just switch, and thankfully, when you watch the video later, it's just still one video. There's just like a blip of like, I go from like, yeah, guys, I'm like, oh, we just switched ingest servers. It like kind of cuts. Like, it's almost like it's like an edit almost. Shift Up just changed its page for Raven. Okay. All right, hang on. I'm going to bump it again. All right. We're going to bump it again. We'll bump it again to 11. We'll do it incrementally here and just kind of see what happens. And then I'll pull up the Doom gameplay, the new videos of Doom gameplay, and we'll see what it looks like, how crispy it looks like on AV1 at these higher bit rates. Come to the future. I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped. Like, we've never been able to do this in the past because I was on old copper lines that I was getting 12 as an upload max. And so we stayed beneath that significantly. We didn't want that to be an issue. Now, obviously, the only concern I would have is, does bumping the bit rate, does that ever cause issues for the viewers? Because, like, YouTube's recommending at a 1440/60, they're saying I should be at 24. The only issue you can have is bandwidth requirements for viewers, but it should be able to drop to 1080 anyway. Wired Rope says, I'm telling you, 15K at AV1, and you need to pull up Vampire Survivors. Add what codec? Huh? What are you talking about? Pull up Vampire Survivors. Add what codec? I'm not sure what you're trying to communicate. YouTube recommendeds are overkill. Yeah, Wired Rope is saying you don't need to go up to 24. He's saying just go up to 15. We are currently at an 11K, and nobody's complained yet. Around 15K would be fine. I'm curious at 15K AV1, we pull up a Doom trailer, a 4K Doom trailer. I wonder how it'll look for you guys. Oh, what codec are they saying for that? It doesn't say. Oh, on video ingestion, based on video ingestion codec is what they're saying. So yeah, that might be for like NVENC or the CPU encoding. Yeah, for like H.264. Yeah. AV1, I probably don't need nearly as much. You can run 12 to 14 and be way above where you need to be. All right, let's bump it. Let's just take his advice and just bump it to 15. This could be raucous. This could be raucous, y'all. Okay, let's pull up in YouTube. And let's go Doom the Dark Ages. They've got new 4K stuff. Yeah, VGC's got it. All right, hang on. 4K. All right, here we go. Y'all let me know. I'm just monitoring my stuff in the back end. Monitoring my GPU. I'm monitoring my Ethernet. The GPU hasn't budged. It's still only using like 24%, 36 degrees Celsius. Looks really good. The bitrate hasn't fluctuated almost at all. I'll have to watch this later, obviously. There does seem to be some motion blurring going on. I'm not quite sure what settings they ran. 4K 60. 4K 60 with some motion blurring, maybe. There's definitely some blurring going on that I'm not a huge fan of. Yeah, you're not going to be able to watch it 4K because I'm not streaming at 4K. So I was just curious what it looked like. I'm going to actually pull it up on my phone as well. I kind of want to see what we're looking at. I'm going to back it up to when we started. And then the YouTube app has made it really, really hard. I consistently have to like tell it to show me 1440 60. Like it just won't. It won't do it. Holy crap. There's no compression. There's no blurring. Like I stay crystal clear. Holy mackerel. Man. It looks. I can't believe it. Dude, in the past, you would show footage like that, and the best way to see if you were getting like blurring, artifacting, compression, whatever words you want to use, you would look at my camera and I would get blurry. Right? There's none of the usual YouTube muddling. Yeah, Jiminy Christmas, that looks good. That's going to be really, really nice for gameplay. Really nice. That looked fantastic. Is Snoop dealing with buffering now? Are any of you guys dealing with buffering? My phone via cell service is not liking the video quality, buffering a lot now. Yeah, you're going to have to drop quality. Yeah. This is because you got fiber. It is indeed because I got fiber. We increased the bit rate. I was streaming at like a 9,000, like a 9 meg, and we're now at a 15 meg bit rate. So it cleans it up quite a bit. Yeah. It cleans it up quite a bit. Why am I seeing people say Netflix is being disrespectful to the PS6? I don't think that's the proper way to respond to what was said. I think what was said was silly. I retweeted it myself, and I kind of got sarcastic. Essentially, what the guy from Netflix was saying was that because of the nature of how the younger generation is gaming, that they don't think the future of games is going to be console based, because people basically, they play on their phones. And my response was, yes, because I consume TV shows and video games in the exact same way as when I was a child, right? Essentially, what I was saying without saying it is people mature in how they engage with their hobby. Like, that's like saying, well, kids are only really playing with Nerf guns now, so airsoft and paintball doesn't really have a future. It's like, well, what the, Like, the kids are going to mature, and if they really like that kind of a hobby, if they really like that kind of a thing, well, then they're going to mature into new expressions of that. They might still keep all the Nerf guns and hang them up and all that, but they might get into airsoft. They might get into paintball. I mean, who knows? They might get into hunting. So the idea that because the younger generation is like, we don't mind playing on iPads and we don't mind playing on cell phones. Okay. You're not going to stay there. My nephews were constantly on cell phones, iPads, and the Nintendo Switch. And you know what they game on now? PC and a PlayStation 5. Do you see? Like, follow the money, of course he's going to say that. Yeah, I mean, they're pushing heavy into mobile games. And so a lot of what he's saying, sometimes you have to see, like, he is doing a bit of a, kind of stumping and marketing for the shareholders, to justify their investments and their plans and in where they're trying to go. Guys, don't forget, we do have a chair sponsor now. We do have a chair sponsor now, so you can use not just the soda command, but I'll use it, the chair command. You can use code LONO at andaseat.com. It's like saying and a seat, andaseat.com. Use code LONO for $30 off. Let me know if you use it. Let's get rid of charcuterie boards. The kids got Lunchables now. Yeah, it's extremely short-sighted. And here's the thing, that I didn't even care that the guy from Netflix said it. I didn't. I don't care if the guy from Netflix says that. Let him. Lord Horde gifts a member and gets us a little bit closer to me owing you guys 15 members. The goal of the day is 100. We like to end every day on pace. You end on pace, I'll extend. We're going for another 30 minutes. I didn't care if the guy from Netflix said it. What I cared about was we saw the typical, this is where the industry's going, and we got to make sure and defend for what Phil Spencer says. All of a sudden, all of that team starts saying, yep, this is where everything's going. You got to bring the games to the people. Essentially saying, well, our team lost the console fight, so now we're on team consoles don't matter, consoles don't have a future. And I'm like, you know what? Let me, with one sarcastic sentence, point out how foolish this outlook is. It's just foolish. And a gifted member comes in from Joker Quinn and gets us to 74. A nice strong start to the week. Guys, as a reminder, you do want to be at a paying membership for this Saturday. We are going to try to do the IRL stream. And a new soda order. Thank you. Somebody ordered some of the Sprecher soda. Weather permitting, this Saturday the 5th, we are going to do the IRL stream in my backyard. But it is showing that a high percentage chance of rain that day. So that'll be weather permitting. We'll play that by ear. It's nice of him to say that while the Netflix gaming division's going down the toilet. I'm just curious why we keep letting the losers in the industry talk about where the industry's going. That was me. I love the root beer, trying cream soda. Thank you, Joker Quinn. Man, that's awesome. You guys have supported that activation so much. Let me know if anybody ordered a chair today. You guys, you can let me know in chat or the Discord. Always fun to have that support. Xstasis says Nintendo has reportedly denied Switch 2 development kits to a major chaotic publisher over concerns about studio closures and the publisher being Embracer Group. Xstasis is claiming. That's interesting. Anyway, that's my question. Why do we keep putting stock and authority in the losers in the gaming industry? Why do they get to tell us where the industry's going? Seriously. Why are we doing this? Xbox loses the hardware fight, spends $100 billion to turn themselves into a third-party publisher, and you're going to let them tell you where the industry's going? You're not going to ask Nintendo or PlayStation where they think the industry's going? Netflix's endeavors into gaming have gone, pretty poorly, and you're going to let them dictate and talk about like they're an authority on where gaming is going? Really? Why don't you go ask the most losingest team in the league how to win games? Like that doesn't make any sense to me. No 4K output on the Switch 2, not really a surprise. I'm actually totally okay with that. Totally okay with that. I want 1440. And Brett jumps back in with the Member Plus, and that gets us to 75, right on the nose. We're 25 away from extending the stream. You guys got 26 minutes to get 25 members. That's easy. This person said they were leading. But leading what? I mean, leading what exactly? I don't know. It's large enough for it to be more than just one thing. It's not just a PC, mobile, and a console. It's all those things. They want to make mobile stuff that's larger than all of it. I'm not sure what you're saying. In the Sean interview? Yeah. Listen, you can't lead from the back. You can't. You can't lead from the back. You can't. Gaming is more than just a console. I mean, but you're just saying you're just speaking in platitudes. I mean, what do you mean? What does that mean? These CEOs want to make that mobile money. That's totally fine. I don't care if it. Listen to what I said. Rewind to what I said. I don't care that a company focused on mobile gaming is casting predictions about, that's how people are going to game in the future. He can say that. Why are people that are in the gaming industry as like commentators or, people that cover this, why are they acting like Netflix is an authority on gaming and the future of gaming? Like, who are we kidding? Who are we even kidding? Why would you even listen to them? Yeah, Netflix with that 20 to 30 year history of success in the gaming market, they're really one to forecast where the gaming industry's going. Meanwhile, we're 2 days away from one of the biggest and largest industry leaders in gaming dropping their direct for their brand new console. Nintendo hits over 150 million saturation globally with their device. They're launching its sequel, and on the runway to that, you're going to listen to people that are like, the future of gaming is just not console based. What you did for your internet guy was very kind. Well, thank you. We saw the same thing that was done with hedge fund manager comments, fallacy of the expert. Yeah, he knows about hedge funds, but he doesn't know about gaming. I want you to act like you're an investor. Act like you're not a gamer for just a second. You're just an investor, okay? And I want you to look at what PlayStation has done and announced. AMD relationship, Project Amethyst, PS5 Pro. You're seeing games praised as being generational leaps on the PS5 Pro. You're seeing PlayStation outline how their strategy involves first, second, and third party, either by listening to Herman Hulst or by listening to Shuhei Yoshida, as he's no longer at the company. And talking about how, they've got the multifaceted strategy, how they want to push into China with the PC market. The console market's not strong there. We're on the cusp of another Japanese company, Nintendo, launching their Switch 2 pre-orders, and they're primed and predicted and forecast to potentially surpass the Switch 1, which was an incredibly, great success globally with respect to market saturation. All those things are going on with respect to hardware and exclusives and tried and true gaming strategies, but we're going to listen to Xbox and the AstroTurfers for that brand, and we're going to listen to Netflix and people that latch onto that and conveniently want to AstroTurf for Microsoft. We're going to listen to that as far as like, oh yeah, that's where the industry's going. Yeah. Again, imagine you're an investor. Where are you putting your money? Where are you putting your forecast trust? Are you putting it behind PlayStation and Nintendo are kind of killing it, and they seem to be fully behind hardware. Even Xbox seems to want to get into the handheld space with an OEM Asus end of this year. But if you were from the outside looking in, you didn't have any bias, you didn't have any brand loyalty, you'd be like, why are people putting so much stock into companies that seemingly aren't doing anything in the hardware space in gaming? And the two companies that are having the most success with hardware in the gaming space, but we're just going to ignore them. We're going to ignore them. We're not going to pay attention to them. If you were investing and you were considering who are you going to back and who you were going to trust with forecasting, I don't think you would trust the market losers. Like, you wouldn't trust Xbox. You wouldn't go to them for, where's gaming going? As you guys basically completely evolve and change your entire strategy because you lost. As an investor, that depends. How much money are they making on the software? Microsoft doesn't make anything on hardware and are fine losing money on it. They're still invested in gaming. But if you're thinking about forecasting, homie, and you're thinking about which strategy is going to yield the best results, are you going to back the companies like Nintendo and PlayStation that continue to have success, that continue to have growth? Oh, by the way, PlayStation has growth in a market that we were told that wasn't possible by the same people that are saying this is where the industry's going. Yeah, exclusives are going to go to the way of the dodo. You're trusting people. You're trusting people that said that. I don't know what to tell you, man. We're listening to Rite Aid tell Walmart how to do stuff. Companies are thinking 20 years ahead. I think that's probably overstated. I think they're probably typically thinking about 10 years ahead. Thinking 20 years ahead is a little tough with how quickly tech moves. Like, with how quickly AI has come in and disrupted everything, with how forecasts for infrastructure in America's internet has gone poorly, which is a huge stranglehold on cloud and cloud gaming and cloud experiences for the consumer level. I think it's hard to forecast for 20 years because of just how tech changes or doesn't change in the ways that they hope. I would invest in PlayStation and Nintendo for different reasons than to be investing in Microsoft. Right, and my question, Deuterino, was, who are you going to trust? Who are you going to trust? Why right now is anybody trusting Xbox's outlook and forecast and claims? Why? Look at how they handled this gen. Look at how misleading they were. Look at how many things they said didn't come to fruition. Why on earth are you taking anything they say to the bank? And then Netflix? Netflix has a vested interest in bolstering confidence in the mobile non-console space. So of course that guy's going to say what he's saying. Like, why would you listen to him? Look at the hardware success. Look at the innovation. Look at the tech advancements from PlayStation, Nintendo, AMD, Nvidia, and try and act like, yeah, hardware doesn't have a future. Huh? As an investor, you're not thinking about your investment will net you after 20 years. You're interested in the return in the next 5. Yeah, 5 to maybe 10, Hyde. Exactly. I don't think a lot of these people are like, well, I'm going to listen to them because they're forecasting what's going to happen in 20 years. Nobody's going to. The state of the gaming landscape and cloud and subscription services are all going to be completely and utterly different in 20 years. That's almost impossible to forecast, right? That's almost impossible to forecast. But what I will say is predicting user behavior as a static thing, buddy, that's stupid. It really is. Like acting as if what the younger generation is doing, they're just going to continue doing that. They're going to stay static. Man, that is dumb. Have you ever known that to be true about youth? Have you ever been around teenagers and 20-somethings? Okay? Look at the way they spend their time, their money, the way they engage in entertainment. Does that stay true once they're in their 30s and 40s, have responsibilities, have children, they've matured now, maybe they have their own apartment, duplex, or house, they have their own income that they can now spend, they're no longer spending mom and dad's money, they're spending their own money. Do they stay static as a consumer and just keep doing exactly what they did when they were teenagers and 20-somethings? Yes and no. In large part, there is a maturation that happens. You don't keep consuming the same types of shows in the same types of ways. You're not going to stay there. You're going to change. Like gaming is an example. I've already seen evidence of this in my own life with my kids, my nephews, and other kids that I'm around. They go from this, oh man, to PCs and consoles. They mature. They want to play the more serious games. My one nephew is playing Rainbow Six Siege. My other nephew's Lies of P. My other nephew is big into like COD and Apex. They're across a cascade of genres, and yet they went from like, you know, obsessively wanting to play on like maybe the Switch or like an iPad or an iPhone. They still do that, by the way. They still do. They have games they play on those devices, but they added to their experience because you're not going to play a Lies of P or a Rainbow Six Siege on a mobile device. You're not. You're going to those are more either more intense, more strategic, more precise, more mature, more more like higher level games. You're going to need to be on hardware, dedicated hardware. Now I'm not even talking about cloud either, but I think that plays a role as well. Until there's significant advancements in internet infrastructure and the experience on cloud, you're going to be hard-pressed to convince somebody to play like a Rainbow Six Siege or a Lies of P on the cloud. A little bit of latency, a little bit of a hiccup or a lag or a packet drop, and you're dead. And people that enjoy those types of games are going to be, I think, less inclined to play those types of games through cloud. So I'm continually shocked by why we listen to people, tout predictions about where the industry's going, and it's all coming from companies that are simply trying to break into mobile, or in Xbox's case, they're trying to pivot into publishing because that's where they feel they can make more money. They're simply telling you, well, this is where the industry's going. No, it's where they're going. There's a difference. It's what they're deciding to do. That would have been like AMD targeting people have always said they're not targeting the high-end cards, they're targeting the mid-level cards. That would have been like AMD saying, well, that's where the industry's going. Industry's going to go after, and we're going to see more of a prominence of mid-level cards. And that's not true because that's just what they're targeting. It's not necessarily what the industry is going to do. Now, they could do that and create disruption or draw or, cut into the market and get a lot of consumers to buy their stuff because maybe it's cheaper or maybe it's appealing to a broader spectrum of consumer because there's more people maybe in the middle of the lane that are more apt to buy a mid-level card. But that doesn't mean the industry's going that way. It just means they managed to capture an audience or consumer base that likes what they're selling at that threshold of price. The idea that our future is not hardware based is just a weird prediction I've seen outlined many times. It's usually by an executive that wants people to back their efforts in cloud and mobile, and it's like, well, now it's a little bit suspect. There's a bit of conflict of interest. You're forecasting industry change, which is a little bit hopeful given what you're investing in. if that makes sense. All right, we got 13 minutes. We're going to go to the green room in 13 minutes. If we hit 100 members, I'll extend the stream. I like to put the stream in your hands. We do that with the goals. We're also 2 away from Confetto on the Super Chat. So thank you, everybody who's done Super Chats today. We've talked about a whole gamut of subjects today. The marketing habits of GTA 6. We've also talked about the Switch 2 and its timing. We talked about Ghost of Yotei, new details, and how it was reconfirmed for 2025. So that has been on the docket today. A lot of things to talk about, a lot of things to break down. Who says mobile gaming is still a thing in 20 years? Even some of the mobile gaming spending kind of started to plateau. We saw reports of that. It's not going to continue to grow for forever. Industry's not going towards barriers. Breaking barriers might create those markets or adjust the trajectory. 5 years ago, no one was predicting such a big rise for AI. Industry wasn't going AI until the barrier got broken. Yeah, that's why the forecasting seems a tad strange to me, Hyde. It's like, yeah, I mean, there could be huge breakthroughs with cloud or, you know, mobile and iPad gaming. There could be. That doesn't mean here's the other thing though, Hyde. That doesn't mean the consumers are going to flock to it. It doesn't. AC Shadows Rip. Why are you saying AC Shadows Rip? That doesn't mean you're going to flock to it. The consumers might say we don't like it. Even right now, AI art is getting, you know, good response from consumers, but it's also getting critical response from consumers. You know, your first couple of game shows and movies that come out that are entirely AI generated and created, they'll probably not do that great. I mean, I think people will probably be pretty critical of them. They'll feel soulless and lifeless, and people won't like them. If we don't have a holodeck in 20 years, I'm a riot. Guys, take a quick second and try and get us 24 more likes as well. 400 likes. We basically need 25 likes, 25 members, and we can have a killer day. If not, that's totally fine. We'll go to the green room. We'll plan tomorrow. That's an end of the day segment for paying members only. AI always has that bad dream feeling about it. Yeah, it's like you're dreaming and it's like there's something underlyingly creepy about it. Yeah. VR is pretty much a holodeck. I would say it's like phase 1 of 10 phases if you really want to get to the level of a holodeck. VR was a breakthrough as well. It made a small splash, but it didn't change the market in a meaningful way. Yes, even if you have a breakthrough technologically, that doesn't mean that the industry clamors around it. Case in point, the PS5 Pro, they had a tech breakthrough. They were able to do something cool and proprietary, and they're offering an experience on console that was thought to be impossible, like the level of fidelity and performance. But the market is responding well, but the market's not clamoring. You didn't see like people in record numbers go trade in their PS5s for Pros. Even that level of breakthrough is impressive. Even the breakthrough with FSR4 is impressive, but you're not going to see the market like instantly clamor around it. It takes time. We could build a handheld with Skylink. Yeah, I mean, again, both handhelds and cloud, I think you're going to have significant breakthroughs with internet infrastructure for cloud to ever get good adoption rates, because all it takes is one bad experience and they're going to be like, I didn't like that. That was laggy. That was, whatever. But in the realm of handhelds, I do think things like frame gen and upscaling, I do think we're going to see handhelds get increasingly better at, like I've even said, in 5 years, you'll go to buy a handheld for, somewhere between $600 and $1,000. And I don't think you're going to question whether or not it can get 60 FPS. I don't think you're going to question it. I think you're going to say, yeah, for sure. You're just going to expect to get it. I didn't trade in the base PS5 for the Pro. Kept mine with the combat overall Cyberpunk on it. Pro in addition to the base. Yo, what's good, Mash? Cloud and mobile I can see as the future, but personally not handheld. I think that gets taken over by just the mobile with better accessories for mobile if needed. I just think there's something about a dedicated device, Mash, with a screen and a battery and all of that designed around gaming and like a nice slimlined OS. I just think there's something to be said for that. And gamers will embrace that more than they will a mobile device that then has its own operating system, its own stuff along for the ride, and then you got to get like a peripheral for it. I don't tend to agree with you on that. I think that a more, bespoke thing that is built for gaming, I think is more prone and will have a higher likelihood of getting adoption rates with gamers. Because when you look at it, it's like, well, that's built to game on. Whether it's the screen size, the screen refresh. I know the screens on phones are getting insane, so maybe that's not a great example. But there's just something about it being a dedicated device with, again, the slimlined OS, like a Steam OS on a handheld. I don't know. I think that's going to be pretty compelling versus like, well, you can get a big iPhone and a controller for it and play games. Like, I don't know. I don't think that's as a potent offer. Because again, we're talking about gamers here. Like gamers, I think are going to respond more strongly to a handheld device specifically built for gaming. Zubair says, what's going to change? I mean, in tangible terms, you already have very powerful mobile devices and people already don't want to use accessories. For me, the pushback would be if the cloud is so good and the internet fast for your mobile, it'll be just as good as you would want. Everyone has a phone with $50 peripheral versus a $500 standalone. I'm just going to keep coming back to gamers. I think gamers will respond more strongly to that, a $500 standalone versus trying to game on their phone. I just think there are people that will game on their phone, but I think like in a game, like a gamer, someone who's like, man, I game, I got a PC or I got a console, I like to game, I like to play, Final Fantasy or Dark Souls or whatever. Excuse me. I think they're going to be more prone to want the standalone. Cobra Kai says the problem with handhelds aren't performance. They have that. I don't agree. It's the battery life that's the biggest issue now. Playing 1440-60 gets you like an hour of battery. Yeah, but the average game that I'm going to want to play is not running at 1440-60 on these handhelds, brother. That's just not true. And the frame gen, the upscaling, and that tech is going to solve both of the things that you're talking about. Number one, I think you're oversimplifying. I do not think the vast majority of games are running 1440-60 on handhelds. A lot of them are running 30. They just don't have the raw power. And the upscaling and the frame gen and all that will both help with what you're saying, battery life, because you should be consuming less power. And it's going to then give me what I want, which is I want pretty much every game I boot up to run at 60. It's a small screen. It doesn't even need to be at 1440, truth be told. Everything they're saying is the future we have access to now, and it's not being mass adopted by gamers, and they're not leaving the console behind, so I don't understand how it's the future. That's what I was asking before. Does Sony put out a handheld marketed at 60 when they know we want 60 plus with the Pro? Nobody's buying the Pro for 60 plus that I know of. People are buying the Pro because they want 60 and fidelity and ray tracing. Like they want to kind of combine the two modes. The handheld that we've heard about from PlayStation, I think will be a 60 device. I think they've had some kind of a breakthrough with PSSR. I think they've figured out how to scale it down for a handheld, and you will be able to play PS5 games on it at 60. Aren't most gamers already mobile, though? No. The gaming landscape is split into buckets. The bucket of people who play on mobile are not the people who played Monster Hunter Wilds in insane numbers. The number of people that like the insane commercial success of like Monhunt Wilds or all the people playing Marvel Rivals, that's not all like the mobile gamers who are playing Candy Crush. They're different buckets of people. And this is why I keep thinking people, confuse these issues. They think that like one's competing with the other. I don't think like mobile is cannibalizing or taking gamers away from console and PC. Both console and PC are having growth. In the midst of mobile being insane and having its explosion, it didn't do anything to growth of PC gaming or console gaming. Look at the growth of the user base of Steam. Look at the growth of the MAU for Sony. Look at the saturation of the Nintendo Switch. That all happened during the explosion of mobile gaming. Like, mobile gaming has not at all cannibalized or infringed upon potential growth of console and PC users. All right, we got 2 minutes to hit 100 members to be on pace for the week. If we hit it, I'll extend. If not, we're going to Green Room. Thank you guys for another great start to the week. I'm going to schedule Green Room right now, and when I push that button, we'll be about 60 seconds away. I like to put the stream in y'all's hands. You guys have been so good about that lately. You like to hit the goal and extend. It supports the channel. It makes the show longer, and I greatly appreciate it. Doesn't Microsoft have like 500 million MAU? Well, when you add in Candy Crush and when you add in Minecraft, yeah. Do we have chair info? Yes, there's a chair command. The name of the company is andaseat.com. Use code LONO for $30 off. And they have done racers up to now. This is the Air. I think it's called X Air, and it's their first high-back ergonomic mesh chair. I do not like racers anymore. I know some of you guys like racers. They do have racers over there. But this is a brand new model with them, and they just launched it. And I reached out and said, hey, I'd love one. And they were kind enough to send it to me. So, all right, 60 seconds, and we're going to go to the Green Room, unless we hit 100 members. And then I'll owe you guys 20. Right now, I owe you 15 members. I'm going to pay that up in just a bit, and then we'll get out of here. If you want to come to the Green Room, you do have to be at Member Plus and above. More people are playing mobile games. That is not the same segment of gamers, and data doesn't support migration to mobile. There was some research done by U.S. regulator. It busted some of the gaming myths like a year ago. I'll see if I can find the vid. Yeah, a lot of what people thought about where gaming was headed in mobile and all of that, I think that they make the mistake, and they think that, and a 5-bomb comes in from MASH. I think I know what MASH is going to do. He's going to get us 20 away from 100. I think he's going to drop a 20. I'll drop a 20, and then we'll extend. I know this man. I know how his mind works. There it is. And a 20 bomb from MASH. I'm actually going to tag team with him. I like doing 2 20s at once. Here we go. Here's a 20 that I owe. All right, we're perfectly on pace for the week. And then I'm going to schedule Green Room for 2:30 instead of 2. He just extended the stream. You're super generous, MASH. You're the man. A lot of other people were generous today as well. Mr. Hyde making good on his promise to do a 50 bomb because of his promotion, and we thank you for that, sir. For whatever reason, it does not let me schedule this as Member Plus and above. Oh, there it is. No, it's scheduled as Member Plus and above. Never mind. There we go. The Green Room has been scheduled, and everybody's getting their gifted members. If you enjoy the perks of being a member, YouTube said that they updated the member page. It should be easier to upgrade now. If you're on an Android or an iPhone, just go to my page, my channel, slide over to the memberships tab and see if it'll let you upgrade easily. That was something that they pushed out. They were trying to streamline that page. So, and thank you again to everybody who's been watching today and smashing like. We're 16 likes away from 400. And what you guys can do now, right? What you can do now is you can submit questions with the question command. And that is something available to members, and it'll highlight your question on the screen. Stop spending money on streamers. That's a bad habit. Or people could support the things that they like, and you can do the same. You know? we're able to do what we do here because of the direct support of users who enjoy the content and want to support it monetarily. I am not a big enough streamer to do this full time. I'm not a big enough channel to do this full time. So this is essentially a fan-funded channel and a fan-funded show. Chair company ships to you broken? Nice. Nice. I know there were a lot of people holding out to get a chair. I told them I had one coming. So that has been something I know a lot of you guys were kind of waiting on. RuneScape Dragon Wilds has announced gather, build, skill, and craft and survive in this cooperative 1 through 4 players, up to 4 players, survival crafting game. Fans of RuneScape will be pretty excited about that. It's coming to early access soon, it says. Yeah, coming soon to early access. Kids in the future will say, y'all played on a console. I just don't think that that's true, 187. I really don't. I think they will buy consoles, they will buy PCs. I don't think that the kids in the future are going to be completely anti-hardware, anti-console. I think that prediction is extremely unfounded. I just don't think so at all. You have to consider a lot of the kids gaming right now have parents that are gamers, like my kiddos. My kiddos are growing up with a dad gamer, and a dad gamer is going to do like, hey, this is where I game PC, I game console. He's going to invite them into that. Do you think Wolverine's going to be better than Spider-Man 2? I don't know about better. I think it's going to be significantly different. I loved my time in Spider-Man 2. I did. It's probably my least favorite exclusive this gen, and that's saying something because I really liked it. I really did. I had such a fun time with it. But I think Returnal is still my favorite this gen, followed by Stellar Blade and Ratchet, and then Horizon, and then like Helldivers and Astrobot and Ronin. Spider-Man 2 is somewhere in the mix, but it wasn't like there was nothing bad about it. I really did enjoy it, but I wouldn't rank it as high as some of the others. I'm talking 20 plus. In 20 years? I mean, in 20 years... Well, look. Kids right now are not heavily gravitating to consoles. They're not. They're gravitating to cell phones. They're gravitating to, especially where their buds are, right? And I'm already seeing signs in the circles that I'm in, that they're pivoting to console and PC as well. They're adding that to their gaming experience. So being raised on like mobile gaming or iPad gaming or cell phone gaming didn't like dictate where they stayed. You had consoles 30 plus years ago. Well, that's what I mean. Like, as long as consoles are in the market, I don't think kids are going to be like, oh, that's stupid, I don't want to game on a console. I think they'll say, oh, yeah, that looks cool, those games look cool, I'll buy that to play that. And I think it's because there are certain game types, game genres, and game experiences that you simply cannot replicate on a phone. Right? High-octane games where you're doing snap aiming or, really quick target acquisition with the mouse, right? Maybe you want to play something where there's a peripheral like a steering wheel. Maybe you just really want to play something like, Eliza P or an Elden Ring or something like that requires the precision and the blocking, the parrying, the dodging. I don't think you can get the same level of experience on a phone or an iPad. I think you're going to want an actual piece of hardware to play, a controller, a mouse and keyboard. I I don't know if you. This is what we've always, I think, failed to realize. Like, this was like when people thought like 3D televisions were going to be the future, and I was like, yeah, but the problem is that you're changing the way that they engage to a pretty significant degree, and I always thought one of the reasons that didn't work was because the medium of watching TV or movies hasn't changed except in size and quality. You go to the movie theater and what? It's a big flat screen. It's gotten bigger and better in quality. TVs, same deal. Same deal. It's bigger and it's better in quality. You start adding other access points like, well, wear these glasses and it's 3D, or put this thing on your face and it's virtual reality. And I just think you're always going to struggle with adoption rate with that, because it's just ingrained. It's just like naturally ingrained in us to consume entertainment and media in that way, right? Getting to the point that you're doing like a wearable or an implant, I think that will certainly be a growing element or growing faction of the gaming experience, but I don't think you're going to turn around in 20 years and be like, yep, nobody has PCs anymore, nobody has monitors anymore, nobody has TVs or consoles anymore. I don't think so. I feel like I've always been here, and I've always had to listen to these forecasts of like, oh yeah, this is it, this is where everything's going. And it's like, I remember when 3D televisions hit the store, and I was like, I just don't think so. I don't think that people are going to all of a sudden decide, oh yeah, I want to wear something on my face. Like, no, I want a nice big good looking picture to look at. That's what I want. Now, you want to start talking about like a chair that you sit in, that like you connect to neurally. It's hard to know when exactly that would even be possible. And even then, price barrier, experiential barrier, personal barrier, like there's just going to be a lot of things that people be like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to attach something to my face, head, brain, body. 20 years ago, VR would be everywhere. Yeah. I mean, as soon, I'm telling you, there's some kind of a mental barrier that's always going to make it really, really tough. I think you're just always going to have people that are like, just give me a nice big screen, man. Right? That's a nice chair, but it's a bit rich for me. They have other chairs. They have their Kaiser series, their Novice series. You can get they've got a $200 model. They've got the Kaiser series that starts quite a bit higher in like the 500s. They've got the Phantom series. They've got, a Transformers one, and it looks like it puts, who is that? It puts Bumblebee on it. That one's kind of, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, that's kind of hot. I don't do the racing chairs. Here's the thing. This to me, like buying a really good chair, especially if you sit in a lot, it's like buying a good mattress. I think buying a good ergonomic high back mesh chair like this, you're investing in your health, your quality of life, right? Having good lumbar support, having good back support, it's like having a good mattress. If you can't afford it, I totally understand. But I do think it is priced the way that it is because it's an investment. Are you going to play Death Stranding 2? I am definitely going to play Death Stranding 2. I rolled credits on Death Stranding 1. I know there's still like an hour left and like there's more stuff that happens. So, but yes, I really, really enjoyed it. About 45 hours or so. About 45 hours in Death Stranding 1. I get you need it. 150 to 180 is about my limit. I totally get that, Amskin. I totally get that. Number one, you can always wait for a sale. Number two, you could always set the money aside, right? Again, because it's an investment. You can set the money aside. Because with a chair, I've always said this, especially because I sit in it way more. I've always said, I'm going to want it to be a high quality chair instead of like just going for whatever's available. And so if that's the way you're going to approach it, I think you can definitely get away with saving and waiting. Instead of spending now and getting something that's of lower quality, I think it's better to save and wait and be patient. But every consumer is different. And I'm not even encouraging you to get it with my code. I'm saying in general, if you're shopping for a chair, get the high back ergonomic mesh. I think those are the best. I also think they're nice because they breathe. Like they're not, the other ones can get a little hot. What did you think of the zip lines in Death Stranding? I barely used them. I did. I barely used them. I went crazy on the road build, and I had a road all the way from like South Knot to whatever the one is way up at the top. Like I had the whole road build all the way to like where Mama was. So Mama all the way to that northern place. I had it. Sorcerer says, if you tap on the link, you need to type in the code because I got this message. Oh, did it already give you the discount? Why is it not valid? If you tap on the link, do you need to type in the code because I got this message? I don't understand. You're getting the novice. All right, hang on. Let me go back to the site. That should not be happening. Okay, gaming chairs, novice. Are they only doing it on the gaming mesh one? The X Air? That would be not a useful... Discount code not valid. I wonder if that chair is as low as they're willing to go. I wonder if it's like, because it's their like, maybe it's like their introductory chair. Let me try it on like the Phantom 3 series that's $270. That one's out of stock. Well, why are you showing it to me? Let's try... What's like the next price up? Are all the Phantom 3s out of stock? Oh, here we go. Here's a Phantom 3. I'll remove the novice from the cart. Let me add my code. Discount code not valid. So they're only giving the discount on the X Air, it looks like. I'll have to email them. I didn't know they were doing that. I thought it was just like a flat 30 off all of their chairs. I misunderstood. I guess they want to particularly promote this one. Obviously, if you order it with the referral link, it's still going to give me credit. But, yeah, I'll have to reach out. It works on the Pro Max version. It also seems to work on the X Air. Yeah, I didn't know they were doing that. Usually when a company sets you up with a code, like it's just like a flat discount off of everything, not just a particular model. We might have maybe had a miscommunication. I can reach out to them and ask them. It's possible that they're mainly wanting to promote this because it's brand new. They just launched this. Like I said, they've done just the gaming chairs up to now, the racer chairs. And this is their brand new push. So maybe that's what they're doing. I have to save up. I do like that one too. I know it's steep. I really do. I know that this is a steep, high back ergonomic. I think that the red one that I had originally was about 150 lower when they sent it to me at the time. Obviously inflation, maybe not so much now. I can't even remember the name of the company where we got that. But it's a higher quality chair. It's more comfortable. It's softer. The build is more sturdy. The wheels are better. Like just rolling it around my room, I was like, wow, this is a much, much nicer chair. So, a lot of pages say sold out. Wonder what the threshold is, if the discount's lower than Texas. Yeah, I'm not sure. Usually they do a percentage off. So when they did the $30 off, I was like, well, that's pretty dope. Just giving people $30 off. That's kind of nice. How long is Chapter 3 in Death Stranding? I'm 21 hours in. I'm still there. Well, Milk Dud, if you are not picking up the orders for Sam and you're getting stuck in the... And stay there as long as you'd like. But if you're getting stuck in the other orders and you're just doing that grind, right? You're not progressing the chapter. You're not progressing the story. If you're not grabbing the little symbols different and everything, it's like a circle with a star in it. The orders for Sam with the circle and a star in it, those are the ones that advance the chapter in the story. Yeah. So, a lot of the times you're going to have to find where they are. There were a couple of times I was like, I don't know where the next one is. You just going to have to go back to the most recent place you were and pull up the little computer and it'll be there. Like, they'll have you go out into the middle of nowhere and that person won't have anything for you. You hoof it back, and when you get back, they'll have an order for Sam. So. News feeds focusing on Doom the Dark Ages previews. Also focusing on the Nintendo dev kits not having 4K output. So we'll have plenty to talk about tomorrow. The map can tell you. Oh, does the map tell you where the next order for Sam is? I couldn't see that. I was like, does it have the location flashing or something? One time it was flashing. I felt like there was a time where I couldn't tell where I was supposed to go, and I just went back to where I previously was, and I was good. There it was. There was the order. I was like, oh, it's right here. Like, I didn't get like lost. I wasn't like, oh no, I don't know where to go. It just wasn't as prominent. Hovering over and selecting locations will tell you what orders are available. Oh no, I remember doing that. I think that was maybe after I got a little turned around the one time. I was like, where am I supposed to go? You still have to check each one to see, but you don't have to walk there. Right, you highlight it, and it says if there... I think it also says, like, if there's cargo for you, if there's orders for you. Yeah. I was just... For the longest time, I was just sort of immersed in the game to the degree that I wasn't really using those systems or paying attention to those systems. I was just kind of playing. And vibing with it. So, guys, in 10 minutes, we're going to go to the green room. I can't let you extend anymore. We did start late today because I had a power outage last night, and I was up till like 2 in the morning, and then the power came back on, and then so I slept in. I was like, there's no way I'm going to get up. I would have been dead. It would have been terrible. So we did get a little bit of a late start. That means I cannot extend anymore. I need time to kind of plan and book the next day's shows. I need time for that. Which, speaking of which, I'm going to do something. Since we are here right at the tail end, I'm going to take a very quick break. I've got to use the restroom. The timing's all off today. I've been sitting in the chair for quite a while from morning coffee to now. And when I get back, we'll be ready to switch gears. So I did turn off automatic ads. That seems to have really helped the experience. It also seemed to almost immediately kill our reach. We were, like an hour in, we did great. And then we just, like a rock, the rest of the stream fell. And I think that's YouTube. I think they really want us running the feature. And I don't have an answer because it seems too disruptive. And it's really not good for the viewer experience. So hopefully they can come up with better implementation. If they were just running the ads in the chat box, that would be an easy decision because it would never disrupt the stream. So I'll be right back. You might get an ad. This is the only time I really do this. When I push them intentionally is when I take a break. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Thank you, guys. I'm back. Okay. We're gonna shift gears in like 5 minutes. Can you turn the ads on an hour into the stream? I mean, we could try. That could be the other experiment, like get an hour in, kind of get our vibe going, and then let them run automatically for 30 or 45 minutes and see if it gives us a boost, and then turn it off. And maybe by then people are kind of accustomed to knowing like, hey, we got about an hour in, I don't know. I don't know the answer. I was thinking that running it for the first hour, giving us the push, and then cutting it off would be nice, but it just very clearly hurts. It's like as soon as it's off, it feels like YouTube, kind of pulls the plug. There's creative ways we could approach it. My personal feeling on it is I don't want to do it at all. Like, if I could designate that they only ever showed it in chat, I would be fine with it. Interrupting the show, like I'm mid-debate, I'm mid-rant, whatever, and you're watching, you're having a good time, and all of a sudden you get hit with a, do you need insurance? Like, my personal inclination is they're terrible and they don't have a place in a live environment. And it's not good to be like, well, every hour I'm going to get up, walk away, and hit it, because that has had, now maybe we need to experiment with that. Because in the past, that would be so destructive. We would be like, yay, boom, and we would just die the minute we did that. Maybe now YouTube will be kinder if you do that. I don't have a problem with saying, hey guys, we usually go for about 3 hours, sometimes more. Every hour on the hour, I'm just going to take a quick stretch break and hit some ads. And if YouTube's not so, if they don't just obliterate us like they used to in the past. Like, we tried it a couple of times and it was terrible. You would take an immediate viewer hit and you'd never recover. And it's like, well, the live streamer needs to have that like rotation of fresh folks. And you can't hurt that. If you hurt that, then the rest of the stream becomes a waste of time. It's like, well, we're basically hanging out with the core. We're not meeting new folks. So let's just go to members, kind of a thing. So we could experiment with that and see if that's less, punishing than it was before. And if it satisfies, the whatever, algo or whatever. Here's some mouse and keyboard footage captured, said John Linneman. Just a snippet of what will appear in my video tomorrow. He says it's a very different game from Doom Eternal and doing some very cool things. The tech is outstanding so far. YouTube needs to allow you to not give ads to members. That's a joke. Yeah, I think their problem with that is, Hilly, they got to keep the marketers and the ad agencies happy. They can't have YouTubers out here saying, "Hey man, pay me $5 a month and you'll never see an ad on this channel." Like that's very counterproductive to their business aims. YouTube Premium is quite a bit different because it's, so much more expensive and they're still paying on the ads. So it's like it's different than like allowing a YouTuber to basically campaign against the ads. I think that would be, yeah. I think that would be something that they'd be pretty strongly against, because it would be kind of against their business aims. So, all right, I'm going to spam a link in chat. We are going to go to the Green Room, which is an end of the day segment for paying members only. This is a really great reason to upgrade and become a paying member. And I will spam that link in chat. Let me set up redirect before I do that. I have not set that up just yet. Redirect's super inconsistent. That's what Twitch got them as that they are in. If they had to do it again, but they would leave that part out. Yeah, maybe. Because you get some big streamer with like thousands of paying subscribers, well, paying members here, and they don't see any ads, for sure. Hey, thank you so much for being a paying member. This is the Green Room. You know the deal. You are paying to directly support the channel, and this is a segment just for you where you can hear us kind of breaking down the plans and what we're going to do next. We're having a nice strong start to the week. We are planning, weather permitting, to do the IRL stream on Saturday. I'll be out back with my grill and a table, and we'll do a steak, and we'll hang out, and we'll have some laughs. That will be just for the paying members that have helped unlock that incentive. I'm going to end the previous stream and bring folks over with Redirect.